The Argos and Ticats, 124 years in the making. Good evening and welcome to part two of our Labor Day doubleheader here at Hamilton. The Argos #1 in the league at 7-2. The Ticats dead last at 1-8 and winless here at home. And they'll be wearing new uniforms tonight, perhaps an effort to start anew and trying to win here at Ivor for the first time. And might they seek some inspiration from wide receiver Earl Winfield, who may be wearing his new jersey for the first time and last time. The Ticats record-breaking receiver is expected to retire and to leave for an education position in Virginia right after this football game. At the half, we'll feature Matt Dunnigan, starting over as a college coach. The CFL's record-setting former quarterback talks frankly 1 year after a head injury robbed him of his career in his prime. Matt Dunnigan at the half here in Hamilton. Beautiful conditions on a warm September evening. Temperature about 23 degrees. Just a hint of wind. You can taste the steel mills in the air. And nothing comes tougher than a game at Ivor. We're ready for the opening kickoff. Let's go to Chris and Dave.
Well, Mark, both of us are relieved that there's no snow in the forecast for this meeting, although that would have brought great memories back for Don Matthews, now just 2 victories shy of Frank Clare on the all-time victory list in the Canadian Football League. And at the other side, Urban Bowman. Remember, he was the interim coach in Winnipeg when they went to the Grey Cup in '92. We are set. And this is Willie Brown, the newcomer, playing his first game, and Brown lowers the shoulder. He's out to the 39. We've had the first Oski wee-wees of the night, and we're ready to see if the Ticats can eat them raw tonight, led by Anthony Calvillo.
Well, having a chance to be down on the field, there's a tremendous amount of motion going on, and this guy right here needs to keep his poise. He needs to stay in the game mentally and keep on an even keel so everybody around him can blend with him. He's played extremely well the last 2 weeks.
393 yards last week against a tough defense in Edmonton. First down, Archie Amerson will go right side, flags down. Amerson ran through a couple of tackles and steps out of bounds about the 43. Referee for the game is Jake Ireland. Third of 4 meetings between these two teams. Offside the call against the Tiger Cats.
Well, this offensive line is Val St. Germain has taken the place of Jude St. John, who had a knee injury a couple of weeks ago, and he can play both guard and tackle. That's why he slid to the tackle spot. And of course, we talked about Earl Winfield. He's an emotional leader as well as a great player. Had a super week last week, 2 touchdown catches.
And there is extra emotion tonight because it looks like this will in all likelihood be the final game of Earl Winfield's outstanding career. First down over, 1st and 15. And then a throw in the flat, complete. And that's Amerson out of the backfield with the catch. And he's up to the 39-yard line. He gets the 5 back after the flag.
Well, this Toronto defense is based by a great group up front. Rob Waldrop is having an all-pro year again this year. Mike O'Shea received tremendous boos when he was announced here tonight. And of course, Charles Anthony coming back. He was part of those Baltimore teams that played in back-to-back Grey Cups.
Well, the reaction didn't bother O'Shea last time here. 8 tackles and a sack. It's 2nd and 10, and Calvillo checking off at the line of scrimmage. Calvillo steps up underneath. There's Winfield, and he could go a long way. Winfield tracked down by Adrian Smith, who did a nice job of cutting Winfield off at the pass. Nevertheless, the veteran has a 21-yard gain.
Well, I really feel it's important for Hamilton to be positive on first down, and by that I mean keep themselves in conversion situations, short and medium, like 5 yards. They didn't do that on this series, but Calvillo's scrambling ability and the heady play of Earl Winfield coming across to get open for him has extended this drive.
Catch number 569 for Winfield, who came out of retirement to rejoin the Tiger Cats. More on his story as the game develops. Here's Amerson, and on the ground, taken down by Ken Benson at the Argo 44. So Anthony Calvillo and the Tiger Cats looking sharp in the early going.
Well, another one of the youngsters on this ball club, Archie Amerson, a rookie. He won the equivalent of the Heisman Trophy in Division I AA, the Walter Payton Award in college. He had 100 yards against this team last time they played.
7 yards on the pickup for Amerson. And now he sets his receiver to the left side on 2nd and 3. Lee Knight, the lone running back. And here is the option to Knight, and he'll put his head down and is dragged out of bounds. That should be a first down. Again, Ken Benson, the Argo tackler.
Well, you always like to have the element of surprise in your offense, and I guarantee you I'm surprised that Lee Knight's on the end of an option play, but Lee powered through Benson there to get the first down because he hadn't established himself as a first down run there until he actually made contact with Benson.
Argonauts with the #1 rated defense in the league, overshadowed by Flutie, Drummond, and Clemens, but this group may be as good as Don Matthews has ever assembled. Here's Calvillo, looked right, looked left, and he'll take Amerson, who's wide open. Archie Amerson down the sidelines. O'Shea takes him out at the 19. I'll tell you what, Dave, Calvillo had all day, and that hasn't happened a lot this year.
Well, 2 positive plays come out of this. 2 positive things come out of this as we see Archie Amerson still down. Can ill afford to lose that young man. Anthony Calvillo gets good protection, which is a positive for Hamilton, and he's patient. He drops the ball off to Archie Amerson, who I feel has a chance to maybe be the MVP of this ball club. He can do everything well. He runs the ball well, and he does this well. He checks down for Anthony Calvillo, and once he feels he's got daylight, he gets upfield.
O'Shea taking him out at the sidelines. Amerson in the pinball category at 5'8", 175 pounds, and he's being helped off. Calvillo 3 for 3 to start proceedings tonight, 46 yards. And Willie Brown will check in, and Brown was expected to see a lot of work tonight. It's his first CFL game, and Urban Bowman gave you the impression yesterday that he thinks Willie Brown's something special.
Yeah, he was really excited. His eyes lit up when he had a chance to talk about Willie. He says he's real versatile, more of a halfback type, but he's going to play a little fullback tonight also.
Sets up as a receiver. He's #7. First down from the Argo 19. Winfield, and off his fingertips, incomplete. Donald Smith watching Earl Winfield.
Well, this is a situation where you need to keep the ball down. Anthony Calvillo airmails this one a little bit. As a receiver coming in at you, you need to throw it right at the numbers. That's a tough catch for a receiver coming back to the football and have it go up high. They got to climb the ladder to try to make the catch. That's a tall receiver in Winfield at 6 feet, but that was a little too tall for him.
So 2nd and 10. Hamilton in Argo territory. Calvillo pumps once. He's looking for Winfield in the end zone, and it's incomplete. Donald Smith didn't bite on that pump from Calvillo.
Well, they like to do the hitch and go, which means Calvillo will pump the ball to Earl Winfield about six yards down the field, and then have Earl take off. And Earl's the best in the league at this, climbing the defensive back's frame to make a catch. The problem with that is Calvillo didn't give an opportunity. He threw the ball too deep into the end zone. Got to underthrow that and let Earl go up and get it.
It hasn't been vintage Paul Osbaldiston so far this season, 10 of 17. Far more effective in the punting department. Osbaldiston from 26 yards out. He's got that one. And the Tiger Cats score on their opening drive. Urban Bowman likes the way this is starting. It's 3-0 for the Hamilton Tiger Cats early. Well, if it's Labor Day, we must be in Hamilton at Ivor Wynne Stadium. Well, they just changed the score. You know things are going bad for you this year when you score the first points of the game and they put it in the visitors category. They had the Argos leading 3-0, but it was an Osbaldiston 26-yard field goal. Hamilton has drawn first blood here. Here's Mike Clemens. And Clemens driven down at the 32-yard line by Cooper Harris, who was wearing blue and white last year in the Grey Cup game for the Argonauts. Doug Flutie, they tell us 100% for the first time this year. Nagging injuries through the first half. Nevertheless, still 2 more touchdowns than a year ago at this time.
Well, I had a chance to talk to him before the game, and he reiterated the fact that this was the first time he'd been 100% going into a ball game in several weeks.
Extra days off for Flutie. In fact, Don Matthews gave the entire team 4 days off, and then Saturday. He thought the team was peaking too quickly. There's a little swing pass out to Mitchell. He's in trouble and nailed. Big play by Frank West to finish off Mitchell, and we expected this Hamilton defense to come fired up.
Well, this offensive line is anchored by a guy that I've played several years with, Mike Kislak. He was the MVP offensive lineman last year in this league, and this group here is pretty much unsung. Flutie gets the credit, but these guys make a lot of plays. Mike Saunders, another ex-teammate of mine, playing the slot.
Mitchell lost 4, 2nd and 14. There's the rush, underneath it goes. That's Mitchell again, and Mitchell somehow squirts through to the 40. He'll still be 2 yards shy of a first down. Daryl Mitchell, a rookie who the Argos think very highly of, and why not? He leads the team in receiving yardage.
Well, the defense has already risen to the occasion here, Chris. This is what they do best. They limit you on first down, and then they rally to the football when the ball's thrown underneath on second down. A 2 and out. They couldn't have written a better script for themselves, get points on their opening drive, and come out and stop Doug Flutie and company on Toronto's offering.
Oakville's Mike Vanderjagt, the top Canadian in the Grey Cup game here last year, 5 for 5 in the field goal department, steps onto the field, and he's kicking to Orlando Steinauer. There's a fake, and Robert Drummond, will he get to the first down? It'll be close. This will depend on the spot. The Argo offense already coming back on the field. And they do say first down, so it's Labor Day, and
well, whenever we played against a Don Matthews team, we always were assured of the fact that he had a couple of these plays in the game plan, and he unveils one right away, and this jump starts his offense now, extends a drive.
Did we not see that play? Baltimore against San Antonio in a Southern semifinal a couple of years ago, Southern final, I think, with Robert Drummond. First down, Drummond. Trouble with the handoff. He's up to the 45. Gain of 2 and a flag down, and you can tell already that tempers are short.
Having a chance to speak with Mike Philbrick before the game, he talked about creating havoc. As you see, an illegal procedure call against the Toronto offense. He wanted to create havoc inside, and this guy right here, Willie Whitehead, in my estimation, in my definition, a fire breather. He comes every play. He's in your face all night long. Tremendous player. Calvin Tiggle anchors this defense. Pretty good linebackers can all run. Calvin is the guy that calls the defenses. Orlando Steinauer, the second leading interceptor in the league. This is the top interception group in a secondary in the league.
This is not a 1-8 defense.
Not by any stretch. This is a good playoff defense.
They're in the top 2 and 8 of 25 defensive categories. 2nd and 8. Here comes the rush. Flutie got it to Clemens, incomplete. He wasn't going to get anywhere near the first down anyway. Good coverage by Gerald Vaughn, and the fans on their feet early here to salute a fired-up Tiger Cat D.
Well, Pinball Clemens leads the league in receptions, and these are a lot of the kind of catches he makes. He's outlets. He gets in the flat. Doug is pressured there by Mike Campbell and just can't be real accurate with the throw. Even if he caught it, you see the defense rallying to make the stop short of the first down.
Well, this time we expect Vanderjagt to kick the ball to either Kenny Wilhite or Orlando Steinauer. Previous 2 meetings between these 2 teams, close games. Argonauts winning 20-15 in week number 2. Antonio Bonner with a interception on the final play. And in week 4, it was 27-20. Robert Drummond with a touchdown in the final minute. And then Mike Colley was sacked on the Argo 16 on the final play of the game. So they've gone down to the wire.
They really have. Herb Bowman is stressed, going out and having a good time. And you could tell by talking to him, he's having fun himself.
Now we're set with 8.5 minutes to go in the quarter. High snap. Vanderjagt in trouble, and he passes behind Dimitrichuk. So they turn it over on downs as Vanderjagt had trouble with the snap. So a big start for the Ticats. They've got the ball in Argo territory when we come back.
Kenny Avrere, he came to Herb Bowman and said, hey, I think I can block a punt for us this week, and he almost gets there. He certainly creates this turnover. Watch Avrere get through, eats up 2 blockers, and now there's several guys clean, including Justin Ring and Donovan Osborne, or Donovan Wright, and the incompletion forces a great turnover here.
Once again, Calvillo changing the play at the line of scrimmage. Here's the pass to Ashante Smith. He's hammered, but makes the catch in front of Adrian Smith. And the ball will be spotted at the 38 of Toronto. You think Calvillo's seeing something he didn't expect?
No, I think Calvillo's doing a good job. Ashante Smith adjusts this route, hooks up underneath coverage. He knows he's going to get tagged, but what I like about it is he ensures that he catches the football. Now they're in a great position, 2nd and 2.
Knight the lone setback. He takes the handoff and spins for the first down, reaching to the 35. Well, I remember 1991, the Ticats hadn't won a game. The Argos were on the way to the Grey Cup victory. And on Labor Day, a strange thing happened. Hamilton won their first game of the year, and they won it convincingly, 48-24. So the Tiger Cats with a first down at the 36. And here's Willie Brown. And he's met and drilled right at the line of scrimmage. Charles Anthony moved up, and he's the newcomer in that Argo defense, but a veteran as far as Don Matthews is concerned.
Well, Charles Anthony has tremendous size. He's 6'2", about 205 pounds, and he's the size of a lot of the linebackers in this league, which allows him to play around the line of scrimmage. But his versatility is he can go play people in the slot and play good man coverage.
Maybe a yard for Brown, so 2nd and 9. Calvillo moves up under center. Under pressure. Hits it off to Knight, and he's submarine. Nice play by Adrian Smith. And that will be well short of the first down.
Yeah, but that's a good decision by Anthony Calvillo. They bluffed like they were going to come after him. They brought 3, dropped 9 into coverage. There wasn't anything happening downfield. Anthony looked for a lane to run, dropped it off to Lee Knight. Lee Knight, a veteran, set down for his quarterback, found an open area. Although they only picked up about 3 yards, they ensure themselves an opportunity of a field goal.
Lee Knight playing in his 172nd game today, and a guy who did some blocking for Dave Archer last year.
He also caught a couple of touchdown passes for him. He had a big day, had a 3-touchdown game last year.
Oz Baldiston's second attempt from the 38. And Oz misses this to the right side, and Clements will come out with it. Here's Pinball Clements, the all-purpose yardage leader, adding to his totals. And finally, tossed out of bounds at the Argo bench. Pinball, a proud papa for the 2nd time, as his wife gave birth to Raven Simone last Thursday, and our congratulations go out to them. His older daughter, Rachel, 3 years of age, in the crowd cheering her dad on tonight.
And if you want to talk about one of the class guys in all the league, Pinball Clemens, what a great guy to be around. He'd be a great teammate. He's a great ambassador for the league, just a super guy. 42
yards on the return of the missed field goal, and he's on pace for almost 4,000 yards all-purpose this season. Going to be 700 over his record. There's a pass completed up at the 36-yard line. That's Paul Mazzotti, the veteran from Stony Creek, but a flag is down. Mazzotti was telling me yesterday that he almost signed with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, at least considered the option of coming to Hamilton, the team he grew up cheering for.
Procedure, Toronto number 32, repeat first down.
Mike Saunders called for procedure, and that negates the Mazzotti catch.
Well, he evidently has a shorter drive to come here to Ivor Wynn than he does to go to the Sky Dome. From what I was talking to some of his teammates, it's easier for him to come here.
I think he felt there was a shorter drive to the Grey Cup game from Toronto.
Yeah.
5:05 to go. First quarter, 3-0 Hamilton, and Flutie swings it out. Here's big Robert Drummond, and he lunges for the 30-yard line. Gets back to the original line of scrimmage. Well, Robert Drummond or Mike Pringle, take your pick. A couple of outstanding players. Pringle, the leading rusher. We saw him at his best on Saturday night. Doug Flutie has just passed Tobin Rote on the all-time pass completion list for Toronto. And a lot of the passes this year have been going inside to Robert Drummond. Second and 8 over the middle. There's Clements and a crossing pattern, and he's dragged down by Melvin Aldridge.
And that's exactly why he's in the game, Chris. Melvin Aldridge is more of a defensive back type. He's only 6'2", about 205 pounds, but he can run. They play this zone defense, fall back. Flutie has to throw the ball underneath. Now you got to rally to the football. Aldridge was a tremendous open field tackle on one of the great open field runners in this league.
Held the gain to just 1. And once again, Vanderchat called upon. We'll be watching to see if John Raposo's snap is a better one this time. Vanderchat gets it away. It'll be Wilhite from his 37. And Wilhite over the 40-yard line. So the Tiger Cats have dominated so far in this first quarter. Just a 3-point lead. Dave Archer, Mark Lee, and the Tiger Cats off to a good start with the 3-point lead. There's Marcelo Simmons, and he has moved from the secondary into the linebacking core. Argo's employing a 3-4, and Dave, I wondered if that wasn't giving Calvillo a different look than he expected tonight.
That's exactly what you alluded to before, Chris, and that's exactly right. He's seeing so many different looks because they have 3 defensive back types up in the linebacker area. It's tough for him to get a read.
There's Calvillo out of the shotgun, swings it. Amerson back in the game, and Archie Amerson found some daylight down that left side. They're going to mark him out at the 49. Boy, that corner opened up, and Amerson shows you he's got good speed. Second and a couple.
He's really a guy that needs to touch the ball, Chris, 20, 25 times in the game, I believe, catching the football and running the ball because he has the ability to make a small play a big one.
He talked about his achievements last year, over 2,000 yards rushing. Second and short situation. Again, it's Amerson, and he bounces it out and has the first down. Argonauts, second toughest team in the league to rush against. And the Hamilton offense, 7th or 8th in just about every category. 7th running the football with under 94 yards a game.
Well, we talked about how celebrated he was in college, and you can see the vision. There was nothing really inside, but because of his quickness and his speed, he bounces it outside, realizes he just needs 2 for first down, and gets it.
Here's Calvillo changing the call again. Looking right side, there's Kevin, and he dropped the football as Marcelo Simmons was ready to unload.
Just a super throw by Anthony Calvillo. He sees that there's a blitz look up. He sees man coverage, and he changes the play to get Pinavere up the seam and Earl Winfield coming underneath. And Avere comes open, and the ball is right on the money. You're going to get tagged in there. Got to make that catch for him, Kenny. They're coming, and Lee Knight and the boys are stepping up. There's the rookie, Quinley. Urban Bowman was really excited about watching him play today.
So it's 2nd and 10, Tiger Cats. Here comes that rush. Outlet to Knight. Lee Knight with a man to beat. Puts his head down. And Kim Benson has him out of bounds, only halfway to the first down marker. Into Argo territory, however, at the 51-yard line.
Well, once again, the right decision by AC. He's under pressure. People say, why is he dropping the football off? We got 10 yards to go for a first down. Well, first of all is the pressure. You see Gibbons and Vincent and those guys in there making the play. But second of all, give your guys a chance to come up to bat. Drop the ball off to Lee Knight. He might be able to make somebody miss and get a first down for you, and it minimizes the mistakes. Now they can punt and keep field position.
Calvillo 7 for 10 in this opening quarter, 72 yards, under 2.5 minutes to play. Paul Osbaldiston, third in the CFL in punting, 45.2 yards. Clements from his 15. Pinball swings wide, flag down. And pinball's going down. Looked like Adrian Smith may have delivered a clip to try and spring pinball after the 37-yard Osbaldiston punt.
Yeah, Adrian's arguing this call, but he's certainly going to get called. The cornerback for the Toronto Argonauts has a clean block in the back.
Illegal block. Toronto number 12. First down.
So the former Tiger Cat, who had a touchdown on an interception in the Grey Cup game, is called. Well, Orlando Steinauer with 5 interceptions, and we asked him about his early success.
A lot of film today, and a lot of it is just seeing something like what's going on, and a lot of it has to do with
Well, we'll get to his success later, but with a full translation. Right now, the Argonauts not enjoying much success working against this Ticat defense. That's Robert Drummond with the carry. Aldridge and Whitehead on the tackle.
Well, that's the first time they've really tried to run straight ahead. This time they just came off the ball, zone blocked it up front, and let Drummond get in there. His big body, 6'3", about 220 pounds, and fall forward. Nice play on first down, 7 yards.
Drummond second in the league in rushing behind Pringle, second in the league in receiving. And number 1 in yards from scrimmage. Second down, Flutie. A lot of steamboats, and now he'll run, and Doug Flutie will scamper out of bounds with the first down ahead of Melvin Aldridge and Frank West.
The reason he picks up this first down is exactly right. Melvin Aldridge is cut off by Pinball Clemens. Pinball makes a great block, allows Flutie to get to the corner. Watch Doug skate out of there now. This is when he's dangerous, but he realizes I need a first down, so I'm going to go get it. Watch Pinball just shield it. Keeps Aldridge from making the play, and Flutie picks up the first down, extends the drive.
And what is Urban Bowman, what was he saying yesterday? The Argos seem to be most successful when Pinball Clemens is catching the ball, running the ball, or delivering the key block, and that's something we don't talk about as much with 31. Second first down for the Argos in the game, and here's Flutie rolling to his right. Willie Whitehead was there to send him back, and now Flutie in real trouble. Unloads the ball, and Masadi comes back, makes the catch. And Masadi lunging for the first down stick. Well, a little street ball from Doug Flutie to Paul Masadi.
And how'd you know Doug was going to look for Masadi? He was in serious trouble. Joe Monfort and Willie Whitehead had him cornered and were coming in for the kill. And he looked to the old veteran, Paul Masadi. Masadi comes all the way back down from his route, makes the catch. Eric Carter, the all-pro corner, fell asleep a little bit here. Needs to be on his coverage a little tighter.
Dave, this is a scramble we might not have seen earlier this season because of the nagging hamstring and foot injuries that Flutie had. Spent the 4 days off playing basketball, just to let everybody know that he was feeling better again and is confident he'll have a better second half. Drummond, left side, has a couple to the 32 as the seconds tick away in this opening quarter. And that's a first down for Robert Drummond.
Second leading rusher in the league, Robert Drummond, 6 yards a carry. That's the stat that it's glaring. Talked to Mike Pringle last Saturday when we did that ball game. Pringle said he wanted to try to distance himself from Drummond because he knows Drummond has the ability to put up a big day.
First down should be the final play of the opening quarter. And Flutie guns it out left side. Mitchell up to the 40-yard line. And that is the final play. Mitchell with a pickup of 8 to close out the first quarter with the hometown Cats up by a field goal.
Welcome back to Ivor Wynne Stadium in Hamilton. Mark Lee on the Argo bench with an interested observer at tonight's football game. Jimmy the Jet Cunningham, who broke a bone in his foot at the Bills camp this season. Jimmy, what are you doing here?
Well, I just want to come here and support my team and with my old team, you know, the Argos, and you know, wish them well.
Jimmy, you technically have not been released by the Bills because you're still rehabbing. You're on waivers, but if the Argos offered you a contract, would you be back in the CFL?
No doubt. You know, my bags are already packed. It's just a matter of catching up with them. But I'd love to come back here to Toronto and play for them once again, but the decision isn't mine. You know, that's up to the front office, and maybe in the next 3 to 4 weeks we could start talking then.
Okay, you heard it from the Jet. He could be in an Argo uniform before the end of the season, Chris.
Don Matthews would, I think, like to see that, but they have not made any real commitment to a decision. On second and short, Drummond lunging high in the air to get the first down. But once Jimmy the Jet is ready to run again, I think those negotiations will open up.
Well, the stats don't really reveal very much other than the fact that both defenses are playing extremely well. You see the yards passing, Doug Flutie with only 34 yards in the first quarter, a bit of a surprise, but it's the way the defense, as you see, the defense has stepped up again and held Toronto short. Because it's only about a foot short, I anticipate Toronto going here and let Flutie dive for the first down, but they've played really well. They haven't given up any big plays. They've kept everything in front of them and rallied to the football.
Just to close the book on the Jet, he might be surprised there could be a few more offers.
Yeah, I think that the Jet is going to be a guy that they're going to look at. And this team is Toronto, openly looking for a slot receiver.
Third and short, Flutie, not much of a push. In fact, he's getting pulled back, and I'm not sure. Joe Romolo was pulling Flutie back after he was stood up. Get out of Scarborough. Urban Bowman said, we're going to do some things that'll surprise you for a 1-8 team. Just. So they stay alive. But another indication that the Ticats came with the chin straps done up today.
Well, they've always been a good team in short yardage, and here you see them hunkered down. It's about getting lower than the other team. You see Campbell, Willie Whitehead, Phil Brick all in there, and I think Doug got a pretty generous spot there. I think the defense stood up there a little bit.
First down, and the Ticat fans braying about that spot. There's a throw to Drummond, who stepped in front of Steinauer and has a big catch for Toronto, finally into Hamilton territory at the Cat 45.
Well, this is a tremendous amount of trust in the guy you're throwing the football to, because Orlando Steinauer has tremendous coverage. He just doesn't look back for the ball. Doug knows that Drummond will compete for the football for him. Drummond goes up and makes the catch. Steinauer had good coverage there, just didn't look for the ball.
Robert Drummond was a wide receiver at Syracuse, so he's an exceptional pass receiver, although his receiving stats a little deceptive because he catches so many of those shovel passes. That, though, was a big 23-yard pickup, and now Drummond will do it on the ground. And he's down to the 37-yard line. Gain of 8.
Well, Robert Drummond has the ability to do everything. We just saw him lined up outside wide. Now Phil Brick has to try to fill the hole and keep this from get some penetration. He doesn't. He gets buried right there. Willie Whitehead gets kicked out. Drummond right in behind the blocking, and a big 8-yard pickup.
Drummond with 2 100-yard rushing games this year, one against the BC Lions, 100 yards even. He had 133 against Edmonton on the ground. Second and short. And again, Robert Drummond, and he springs this one into the secondary, down to the 24. And Drummond is starting to roll.
Well, short yardage is a situation where if you get the right blocks, you can crease the defense. And you see the crease open right there, and Drummond almost breaks this one. Saturday, we saw Sean Millington pop a short yardage play for a touchdown of about 50 yards. Drummond almost took that one to the house.
And he is quite familiar with the end zones here. He had 4 touchdowns in a game last year at Ivor Wynne Stadium. First down, Flutie with time. Has Mazzotti down to the 16-yard line. Steinhauer on the tackle. I was amazed yesterday when Mazzotti said he caught 3 balls last week that aren't even in the playbook. They just kind of drew them up on the sidelines.
Well, this one looked drawn up on the sideline too, because he and Saunders are about a foot from each other when he catches his pass. You see Mike Saunders standing right there. Believe me, folks, you don't want 2 receivers in the same area, but Doug has such a belief in Paul Mazzotti that he'll put the ball in there, and he knows Mazzotti's going to come back and catch it for him.
That's a couple of catches for Mazzotti, who needed only 43 yards for 7,000 in his career. Another second and short situation, and Flutie fakes to Drummond, looks in the end zone, touchdown, Daryl Mitchell.
Well, when you're as positive as Toronto's been on this drive on first down, it puts the defense in a bad situation. Second down and 2. Here's an opportunity for Flutie to fake the ball. They've given the Drummond the ball a couple of times up the middle. This time they fake it to him. They get on the corner, and Daryl Mitchell just splits the coverage, and a beautiful throw from Doug Flutie.
Well, he seems to be getting better each week. Against Saskatchewan in their last game, 3 catches, 99 yards, and a 60-yard touchdown, and took over the team lead in reception yardage. And he has his 5th touchdown of the season. Vanderjagt adds the extra point. 12 plays on the drive. And the Argos have their first lead of the evening.
Well, there's the brain trust, the Toronto team. That's John Jenkins in the middle. Bill Bradley, the defensive coordinator, left. You see the GM, Eric Tillman, in the back, and Daryl Mitchell with the touchdown catch. These are the kind of drives that Flutie's going to have to make tonight. 12 plays, 103-yard drive, but that's what this defense will make him have to do, and he comes up with a big throw here. Watch Drummond suck the defense in, and then Flutie sticks the ball on Mitchell for the touch.
Well, Matthews quite complimentary to his rookie slot back yesterday, and said we're learning more about him and we'll be using him more. Ruffin with the kickoff return for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Well, Urban Bowman took over for Don Southern a couple of weeks ago. The first thing he did, he said, was to call a veterans meeting. All the players, the core players who had played at least 5 years with the Tiger Cats. Only 6 guys showed up, so he changed his mind. He thought, well, we better get all the guys that have been here for at least 3 years just so they could have a quorum.
Yeah, everybody that's been critical of this team doesn't realize that if you remove 4 veterans from this team, they only average 2 years of experience across the starting group of the 24 players remaining.
Calvillo starts it from his 27. Down 7-3, looks for Winfield, and Donald Smith on the veteran receiver. Should finish the Winfield story. He has a job as a physical education instructor at a military base that starts tomorrow. And so he agreed to come out of retirement for 6 weeks. Has offered his services as a weekend player, but neither Urban Bowman, Anthony Calvillo, or Dave Archer thinks that's a good idea.
No, I think that would be very difficult on his teammates and especially his quarterback to try to get something going with him.
As good as Winfield has been, and he's been great in 11 years. 2nd and 5. Calvillo has Knight, and Lee Knight to the 40 has a first down.
Well, everybody that's seen Anthony Calvillo play knows he has the skills to get it done, but sometimes he wants to push the ball up the field. You saw him hedge. Watch him here. He's going to hedge like he's going to gun it up the field, and then he thinks, wait a minute. I got my veteran running back, Lee Knight, right here in the flat. I'm going to get myself a first down, and let's line up again and go again.
You had a great talk with Anthony Calvillo yesterday, and I think it takes one quarterback to understand what another's been going through.
I think Ricky Foggy's been a big help to him, Chris. I think that's a good point, that Foggy coming in's really helped him.
There's Calvillo on first down, in trouble. Got away from Andrew Stewart, but he won't get away from Demetrius Maxey. And Maxey has his 2nd sack of the season.
Well, this is something that this defense has not done very much. They're last in sacks, Toronto's defense, but they're #1 overall in defense, which is a bit of an oddity. They play such great coverage and rally to the football that they really haven't gotten to the passer much. They give away the short pass, but here Andrew Stewart comes clean. Now it's a jailbreak and no place for Calvillo to go as Demetrius Maxey ends up with the sack dance.
Just their 16th sack of the year, and 5 of those have been against Hamilton. So a loss of 5, 2nd and 15. And Calvillo rips that one up to the 44. Ashante Smith with the catch. He has 2 in the game.
Well, again, that's the difficulty of this defense. If you get in 2nd and long situations, it was 2nd and 15 there. They're only going to give you the underneath throw. You have to take it and hope one of your guys can break a tackle. That time, Ashante Smith caught the ball, and Smith was right there to make the tackle.
And so it will be 3rd and 6, and the punting unit comes on for Hamilton. 8:35 to play in the first half. Paulo Osbaldiston struck first with a field goal, missed on his 2nd attempt, and then the Argos on their last drive, which was 12 plays, 103 yards, scored a touchdown and lead 7-3. Mike Saunders has joined Pinball Clemens back, and Osbaldiston just gets that away. Here's Pinball from his 30. And look at Pinball somehow escape. And Eric Carter's finally going to chase him down at midfield. But Mike Pinball has been doing that for 9 years in the CFL. He gives the Argonauts great field position when we come back.
Well, Pinball Clemens is one of these guys that makes so much happen when he has the football and when he doesn't. He had the football on that punt return. He made tremendous moves. Watch this. Not much that needs to be said. This is why he's called the Pinball. Makes a lot of people miss, Chris, just bouncing around in there.
And that's why he averages 222 yards a game. Here's Flutie looking deep and wide open is Mitchell, and he will score. 2 consecutive Flutie to Mitchell passes for touchdowns, and the Argonauts, with a 55-yard strike, open up a 13-3 lead.
Larry Carter and Gerald Vaughn are having a very heart-to-heart conversation right now because Carter's the corner, Vaughn's the halfback, and somebody didn't get back into their deep third zone. And if you do that with a veteran quarterback that's thrown for as many yards as Doug Flutie has, you can see there's the both guys. There's Carter and Vaughn. One of them was supposed to be back, and that's pitch and catch for Doug Flutie. And Daryl Mitchell's got his 2nd touchdown of the night.
They call him Mookie. In fact, they've got a formation now in the playbook, the Mookie formation for the rookie. I don't know if that was scored off the rookie formation, but the play sure worked, didn't it?
Yeah, Daryl Mitchell. This is Daryl Mitchell right here. Go ahead and roll it, guys, and here he comes. He's gonna. So you see both the corner and the halfback squat on the play. Well, there's nobody back there, and Doug sees that as well as anybody in this league. And you can't do that against this offense. If you give them big plays, this thing will get out of hand quickly.
And so Flutie, with 2 touchdown passes on the night, has 21 this season. And after a sluggish start, doesn't usually take Flutie that long to figure something out.
Well, this defense, their game plan had to be coming in. We're going to limit his opportunities to make big plays, make him put together long drives. He's only put together 1 big long drive in this game. Subsequently, the score was 7-3. Give him a couple of big plays like that. You got to realize your offense isn't generating the kind of offense you'd like. They're only averaging about 19 points a game. You need to minimize the big plays, keep yourself in the ball game.
Aaron Ruffin drops deep. 7:40 remaining in the first half. And at the early edge, the Ticats find themselves down, and Ruffin trying to give his offense good field position. And good run up to the 35-yard line. Well, we have happy news to report from Calgary. Derek Beattie, who was injured and taken off on a stretcher by ambulance from the opening game of our doubleheader, has been released from hospital and is returning to Edmonton with the team tonight. So that's a big relief and good news to pass on.
Yeah, let's applaud the people that took care of that operation too. All the medical staff and the trainers from both teams that handled that so well. And they do that to make sure that there's no injuries that happen between the field and the hospital. Great job by those guys.
Ticats go to work on offense. They fake to Amerson. Calvillo ducked under one, but Maxey's all over him again, and Demetrius Maxey has his, or check that, Andrew Stewart has the sack.
Well, this offensive front needs to step up now, and they need to protect, because this time Anthony Calvillo has a receiver open down the field deep, and this is where Calvillo wants to load it up. He sees him, but he just doesn't have a chance to load it up, and Andrew Stewart, who's forced one sack into Demetrius Maxey, this time gets his own.
And he has 3 on the year. Argos had 4 sacks in the last meeting between these two teams. Second down, Calvillo, and is it the completion? Adrian Smith was in coverage and said the ball wasn't caught, but Ashonde Smith gets the catch. It won't matter. At the 37-yard line, he's going to be well short of a first down.
Well, this is going to be a broken record, Chris, but you cannot make mistakes on first down against this Toronto defense, because they fall off into what I call a blanket zone. They drop 8 and 9 people back. You just can't get the football up the field. You got to throw it underneath, and they're going to rally and make the tackle. This will be an all-day deal unless they're positive on first down.
So Osbaldiston gets set to kick to pinball for the second time in the last couple of minutes. Remember what pinball did last time he put his hands on the ball. Good kick by Osbaldiston, driving Clemens back to his 21, and he's dropped there. Good coverage by Cooper Harris, the former Argo, after a 50-yard punt by Osbaldiston. 6:05 to go, first half in Hamilton, 14-3 Toronto.
Welcome back to our Labor Day doubleheader from Hamilton, and we'd like to at this time welcome our viewers to join us on our new CFL on CBC internet site. You can get some coaching tips, join the chat line with some of our commentators, even send some of your comments to our broadcast. There's the address, and there's an Argo, a friendly Argo here at Ivor Wynn. You might even get to see some of Dave Archer's favorite Southern cooking tips. How about chicken fried steak and gravy, mashed potatoes and gravy and red beans?
Got a cookbook going we don't know about?
Well, Mark must have visited the same restaurant I went to down in San Antonio, because boy, can they fry up that chicken fried steak. And I do have a couple recipes for that one.
Joe Montford looked a little hungry on this pursuit of quarterback Doug Flutie.
That's a super job by the defense. Montford comes in, pressures Willie Whitehead from the backside, and great coverage by the linebackers for the Hamilton defense.
That's only the second incompletion tossed by Flutie, who has 137 yards and a pair of touchdowns. 2nd and 10. There's Whitehead trying to track him down. A completion in front of the Hamilton bench, but that'll be short of the first down. At the 36, Mike Saunders with the catch.
These two defenses are a mirror image of one another, Chris. If they limit the offensive production on first down, they fall into a zone, and it's very difficult to get the ball downfield. That's exactly what Hamilton wants to do, make Flutie throwing the ball underneath, rally to the football, and get to it.
That's why both of these defenses have been so tough all season long. There's our perch at Ivor Wynn. Just one last note on the internet. The first hit on our internet site, believe it or not, came from an old Baltimore Stallion fan.
And, you know, that doesn't surprise me a bit. I had a chance to play Memorial Stadium a couple times, and I don't think they had less than 30 every time he played there.
Vanderjagt to punt with 5:05 left first half. Here's Steinauer. And Steinauer can't get loose at the 35-yard line. 47-yard Vanderjagt punt and a 5-yard return. Well, there's Lee Knight. I mentioned that game back in 1991. A 48-24 win by the Tiger Cats, their first victory of the season, and Lee Knight was terrific in that game.
Lee said this was the first game he ever started at fullback, and you can see why as he runs through people. And watch, here comes Donovan Osborne, or we'll keep calling Donovan Wright, one of his teammates that now is part of this team. I don't want to call him Donovan Osborne.
I don't know, but we almost called Lee Franco Harris there.
That was a great run. He lit up when we talked to him about that play.
There's Ricky Foggy into the game, and he throws his first pass against his old teammate teammates incomplete. So Ricky Foggy's in. This is not a major surprise. Urban Bowman talked about giving the veteran a look, and the Argo defense a different look tonight.
Well, Ricky was really excited to play a couple of weeks ago against Montreal in his first game back from the Arena League. I talked to him before the ball game, and he was hoping to get some time tonight. He was hoping to be in a situation where he could still make an impact on the game. He's in, and he can definitely make an impact here.
Calvillo will watch, but he will be back in before the night is done, unless Foggy really lights it up. 2nd and 10, here comes the rush. Ricky is elusive, and that one is dropped off the fingertips of Archie Amerson.
Now, the strengths of Ricky Foggy are that he's a veteran quarterback, and he has the ability to move. First play was a bad play, 2nd and 10. This time, you're going to see his ability to make some people miss. Here comes Reggie Givens, runs right by him, and now here's a super throw, puts it right on Archie Amerson, and the young kid's got to make that catch for him.
So it's 3rd down, and the Tiger Cats unable to get anything going. And you look back to their first 2 possessions, they get a field goal, and then they got into field goal range again, did not get any points, but their inability to score when they're down in the opposition's territory like that has haunted them all season long. Clements letting this one bounce, and is drilled to the turf at the 44 with 3:43 to go. Donovan Wright happened to be on the tackle.
There he is.
AC watching on the sidelines. Nothing wrong with those numbers, and I think we should make it clear Urban Bowman has not pulled him.
And what I like to see about Anthony Calvillo is that he's up on the sidelines and he's very much involved with what's going on. And I guarantee you, Urban Bowman and Don Blackwelder, the offensive coordinator, have talked to him and let him know that they're not yanking him out of the game. They're just going to give him a chance to watch a series or 2 from the sideline.
Calvillo said a turning point for him this year was when he was pulled in Montreal a few weeks ago after a dreadful start, but when they went back to him in the 2nd half. Here's Drummond at the 49-yard line, and he has 5 to 6 yards. Mike Philbrick, whose dad also played for the Tiger Cats, with the tackle.
Well, one thing that begins to happen, if you go 2 and out on offense, that means your defense has to play a lot of the time. This is a big offensive line that's in front of Doug Flutie and Robert Drummond on the Toronto side of the ball, and they can begin to wear you down. So a big stop here from Hamilton. Hamilton's offense is going to have to come on and make something happen, let this group rest.
That's why the Hamilton defensive numbers are so amazing this year, as they've been on the field in some games 35 minutes. Flutie, and he misfires with Clements, who was being watched by Frank West, and that will be 3rd down Toronto. 3-minute warning's been given to both benches. Here in the first half, Argos on top.
Welcome back to Hamilton. One of the tenets of pro football is to never show a weakness, never reveal a vulnerability. Tonight at the half, former quarterback Matt Dunnigan lets down his guard to talk about life after football. It's a revealing account of a quarterback forced out of football by a concussion and now beginning a new career as a coach. We'll have that as well as the first half analysis. Gentlemen?
Yeah, you want to see the feature that's been prepared on Matt Dunnigan. Vanderjagt with a booming punt. Wilhite going to let that one go through the end zone. And this will be a single for Mike Vanderjagt and a 15-3 Argo lead on the 80-yard punt. Well, we know what Matt Dunnigan went through. Did you ever have an injury or a concussion that made you think about the end of your career?
I was fortunate enough, Chris, not to sustain a concussion, and they can come at any time. You take a shot, it might be just an inadvertent shot. A guy gets a knee in the head or something, but if anybody ever doubted that Matt Dunnigan could play football, he didn't know anything about football, because this is one of the great heart guys of all time. You saw him banging heads with offensive linemen, and Chris Walby, our colleague who was out in Calgary, used to play with this guy, and I used to love to watch the guy play as a player on the other side of the field because he played with a tremendous amount of emotion, and boy, could he play the game.
And you'll see a lot of that emotion in our halftime interview. 2:26 to go. Ticats have to get something going on offense with Ricky Foggy at the controls, and he has a strike to Earl Winfield coming back for the ball, and tossed to the turf by Donald Smith. Marcelo Simmons around to help out.
Well, whenever you're struggling on offense as a quarterback, I think you might want to get to a veteran receiver, and there's none better than this guy, number 1, Earl Winfield. Earl's going to catch his fall. Now he's going to try to spin inside and make something happen, but he got 9 yards on the play, or 8 yards on the play. Good positive play on first down. 2nd and 1. This is where Anthony Calvillo said Earl Winfield can really be dangerous on the 2nd and short, but Hamilton will just settle for the first down here on the plunge. Mike O'Shea around the football as he stopped Lee Knight. The Toronto Argonauts have allowed 30 fewer first downs than any other team in the league, and that's the stat that's real important to Don Matthews, because that means Doug Flutie's getting the football right back in his hands very quickly. Yeah, you're not moving the football much if you're not getting very many first downs, and this team limits first downs like no other team in the league. In fact, teams average only 15 first downs a game against this defense.
There's Foggy looking for Winfield, passing behind him. Well, what Hamilton needs is a little arena football offense. Ricky Foggy played in a game this year where he threw 9 touchdown passes and they scored 91 points.
Unbelievable. He said they played 12 games this last season in the Arena League, and he threw 56 touchdown passes, and he was, as you see, Herb Bowman, and there's Les Brown, the DB coach for this team. He said he wasn't even the top 3 of the league.
2nd and 10 for Hamilton. Here comes the rush. They pick it up nicely. Winfield comes across, and Mike O'Shea nails his old teammate well short of the first down.
Well, Earl's coming underneath the coverage, and again, everybody's dropping off, and if O'Shea's making the tackle on a wide receiver, that tells you that the linebackers are getting some depth. You see the linebackers dropping back. There's Benson. Here comes O'Shea up. They make a nice, clean, solid tackle.
So O'Shea and company do not allow back-to-back first downs, and Paul Osbaldiston returns for his 5th punt of the game. Hamilton Tiger Cats 1-8 at the midway point, and they still have not won a game here at Ivor Wynne this year.
That's a good job by the punting team, eating as much clock as they can before they get the punt off.
And now trying to angle the punt, but pinball's there at the 17. Now looking for the seam, and he's drilled down at the 22-yard line. Justin Ring with the tackle. One of the interesting sidebars to this game is that guys on opposing teams are rooming together. Val St. Germain and Mike O'Shea. That's a kind of an interesting twist to the Labor Day battle. But Herb Bowman doesn't see anything wrong with that. He says you want to beat the guy you know even more than the guy you don't know.
That's right. He's got to sit down to dinner with him every night. The thing I find interesting about Mike O'Shea, and I think special about him, is the fact that he's got 13 special team tackles this season. That leads the team. And when you've got guys of his caliber making plays on special teams, it transcends the whole game and really feeds energy to your football team.
Well, maybe a big series here for the Hamilton defense, trailing by 12. Don't want to give up any more before halftime. Drummond pushed out in front of the first down marker by Steinauer at the 30-yard line.
Well, Doug Flutie will go to his no-huddle operation now. Actually, he's going to have them huddle up, a little mock huddle here to try to get them distributed before they're going to go to a short yardage offense is what they're going to do. And I'm having trouble splitting that one out, but they're going to go to a bigger group to try to get the first down. A lot of time here, minute 3 left on the clock, but he loves to spread the defense as Don Matthews has got the crew in the game that he wants. Intense guy right there. You can even talking to him away from the game. Intense individual.
2nd and 2. 3 receivers go in motion right side. They give it to Drummond. Big hole opened up off that right side, and Drummond has the first down and a whole lot more up to the 42. Frank West finally brought the big running back down.
Immediately they shuttle in the receivers and take out the big guys from the short yardage play, and Doug Flutie's going to hand to Robert Drummond, which he's done many times. They pull the backside guard, and you see that offensive line just blowing off that defensive front as Calvin Tiggle was not able to slide over and make the play. Drummond hits it up in there for about 15.
Far more efficient first half for Doug Flutie than in the last start against Saskatchewan when the Argos scored only 6 points. He threw 3 interceptions, and at halftime went to Don Matthews and said, "Who was the idiot playing quarterback for the Argos?" Well, he bounced back in the second half with 3 touchdown drives.
Well, he made a couple of big plays early in the game. It's kind of got him into the ball game, and what you want to do is try to keep Doug Flutie confused and keep him out of the game. You see him trying to get everybody distributed here, letting everybody know down the line as he's got his team strung out across the field what he wants them to do.
Using the whole field and finding Daryl Mitchell underneath. And Mitchell has been the most dangerous receiver for the Argos, down to the Hamilton 40-yard line. The safety, Aaron Ruffin, with the tackle. 45 seconds on the clock.
This is just a great throw. Because they've got 6 receivers strung out across the field, it's spreading the defense, and it spread the seam out open there. Doug was able to thread the ball into Daryl Mitchell, and Aaron Ruffin was unable to get over.
Mitchell now 6 catches, 115 yards. And an injured Tiger Cat down. Looks like Ruffin was shaken up, and Rob Hitchcock will come on to take his spot. Hitchcock was the starting safety for the first 7 games.
Well, right here, that's a one-sided conversation. Don's talking about things that Doug already knows about it. Rob Hitchcock, I hate to say this, but Rob Hitchcock last year got his first career interception against me. Picked off a pass for me here at Ivor Wynn. The first game of the year last year actually led to a score for them, but he's an intense player. He was sat down by Joe Moss, the new defensive coordinator, in favor of Aaron Ruffin and a little bit more speed, but Urban Bowman has said that Hitchcock is playing with even more aggression. He's an intense guy and playing great for him on special teams, and it's great to be able to turn the reins over to a secondary to a guy that's played as much as Rob Hitchcock has.
And we're placing a call to the Guinness Book of World Records, the first quarterback ever to admit to throwing an interception. Dave Archer. There's the defensive coordinator, Joe Moss, who's been around this league for a long time.
Well, Joe's a guy that likes to play man coverage and pressure the quarterback, but I see a little bit more Don Southern defense here than I see Joe Moss defense. And that's simply because you got to make sure that Flutie has to throw the ball underneath. If you play man coverage, Flutie's going to hurt you.
Got the leading interceptor of all time, Les Brown, with Joe Moss, and in the background, Terry Greer, the great former Argo receiver, helping out on the offensive side of the football for Hamilton. Here's Flutie now, looking over the middle. Andre Kerwan with his first catch. And the rookie has the Argos in business down around the 15-yard line with 34 seconds to go. Doug Flutie picking apart this highly rated Hamilton defense.
And that's a great way of saying it. He is picking apart this defense because he's spreading it and sending 6 people into the coverage, and he's finding open people, not to mention the offensive line giving great protection up front.
And now Flutie, 14 of 17. Couple of touchdowns, and out of the shotgun. Looks over the middle. Mike Clements to the goal line. Touchdown, Toronto.
Well, a lot of times when you get down in the scoring zone, your attitude changes on defense. Can't play off, want to put some pressure on the quarterback. That's exactly what happens here. The pressure does not get to Flutie. Pinball Clemens runs a crossing route underneath, got a little rub. Not many people can run with pinball when he catches the football and he powers it in.
He's got a ball for Raven Simone. And a touchdown for the Argos of 17 yards.
Well, you see Doug's eyes immediately goes to pinball as soon as he sees man coverage. Frank West is not close enough to make the play, and Meldon Aldridge and Eric Carter get there a little too late, but we talked about man coverage. Doug immediately finds Pinball Clemens.
Came into the game with 63 catches last year, led the CFL with 116. And Clemens into the end zone via the pass for the 5th time this year. And after that,
buddy. Awesome. I love you.
Great start by the Ticats. It's been all Don Matthews and the Toronto Argonauts.
Well, we talked about this guy being a good guy and a community guy. There's not many guys that catch a touchdown pass.
Girl, Raven, just going on Thursday.
He'll go over and talk to everybody in the crowd as he tributes it to his new little girl back home. And that'll be a good one to show her when she's old enough to understand what's going on.
5 plays, 88 yards, 47 seconds. That's a fairly impressive 2-minute drill.
That's a super 2-minute drill.
22-3.
We call him Mookie. So everybody out there watching the 8-7, Mookie is his name.
There's the Mookie formation.
And Rachel, that's my 3-year-old. Love you.
Dave, you take the rest of the night off. We'll just leave it
Really,
pinball's in.
Pinball's doing a heck of a job down there. But how about a guy catches the touchdown pass and then goes in and starts pumping one of his teammates? That right there will indicate what kind of guy Pinball Clemens is.
Well, they grounded out one scoring drive of 103 yards. The next touchdown was a lightning bolt to Mitchell. And now the 2-minute drill executed perfectly. And the Ticats chasm gets even deeper.
Well, this Hamilton team has gotten pushed around here in the second quarter. 2 long drives, and of course the touchdown catch by Clemens on the last drive. What you'd like to see in that plays category is about 10 or 12 plays. That's what they made him go in the 103-yard drive. This time Flutie strikes in 47 seconds. That's not what that defense wants to do. They want to string out the drive, make them put a lot of plays together.
Hands, Kenny! Hands!
Kinnever comes over and gets in the face of Mike O'Shea. 2 ex-teammates right there.
Doesn't matter on Labor Day whether they played together before or not. Here's Foggy airing it out. Winfield jump ball, can't bring it down, and Lester Smith has the pick. They'll spot Smith at the Argo 47, and the Argonaut safety has his second interception of the season.
Well, you got to credit Donald Smith here because he goes up with Earl Winfield. This is a good matchup because Earl Winfield's is 6 feet, 180 pounds, and Smith 6 feet, 190. So this is a classic matchup right here. Earl, tough time to go up over a guy that's the same size, and he rips it out of there. You see the left hand rip it out of there, and Lester Smith there for the tip drill.
They have 2 Smiths on the corner and a Smith at safety, and the Argos call it their Bermuda Triangle. They say receivers and balls get lost when they get in that vicinity of the field.
I'll tell you what, that ball was caught before Donald Smith ripped it out of there, and Lester came over and made a nice play.
Surprisingly, the Argos, you talked about sacks, low totals. They're 7th in the league in takeaways, the highest rated defense in the league, but they have not stolen the ball a lot this year. Moody gets his hands on it with a couple of seconds to go, and they'll just hand it off to Robert Drummond, and that will do it for the first half. So Hamilton, a promising start. Urban Bowman had 5 to 7 good minutes, and then the defending Grey Cup champions took over on their turf.
Well, Don Matthews has to be pleased with the way the team responded. After struggling early in the game, they put everything together. Doug working on all cylinders, and the defense playing as strong as ever.
Flutie 15 of 18, 218 yards, 3 touchdowns, and the Argos lead at the half.
Welcome back to halftime at Ivor Wynne Stadium in Hamilton, where the Toronto Argonauts are threatening to humiliate the hometown Cats 22-3 at the half. Well, the Cats sorely missed their record-breaking former quarterback Matt Dunnigan. His career was cut short 1 year ago right here by a concussion, the 12th of his hard-nosed career. Matt Dunnigan is starting over now as a college football coach in the U.S., but he still laments his loss. This is Valdosta State University, home of one of the top Division II football programs in the U.S. Nestled in quiet small-town Valdosta, Georgia, this is where Matt Dunnigan has come to start a new career in football. He's a coach now, offering the skills he can no longer use himself.
Balls away! Balls away! Squeeze him, squeeze him, squeeze him.
As a player, you try to do what you could as a leader, but for the most part, you were concerned and looking inward and making sure you were ready. And as a coach, your accountability is to all those people and all those the entire team.
Go! 3:58, search!
If I was going to get involved in coaching, this is where I needed to do it, because being involved with your best friend as your head coach gives you a totally different learning environment than somebody else.
He brings a professionalism with him that that you just don't find, and he's giving these kids the intricacies of really playing the game of football, and they respond to him. His leadership skills, his emotion that he brings, and his demand and command of being the best that you can be.
Get there! Wendell! 697 split. Check, release.
Look at that over there. Look, 2 guys ran here. Check, zone, boom, right there. Get you the rock, you're scoring, man, you're in the paper. The kids are looking at you. You're their mentor, and you do have, just balls of clay in front of you that you're trying to mold day in, day out. And you got to be careful in what you do there and how you massage it, how you work that, how you approach those kids.
There you go.
I miss playing. I miss throwing touchdowns, calling plays, being in those pressure situations. But I'm going to get that on this end, too. Being in those pressure situations, knowing that you're infecting everybody with your preparation, it's going to be probably a little more intense. Not as physical, and I don't miss that at all. I don't miss waking up, feeling like I've just been hit by a truck. I don't miss that at all. Just successive blows to the head, and man, I had enough of that. 3 is usually the limit. I had 12. You get 6 a year, you don't even talk about. The last time it happened to me, August 2nd in Hamilton, playing against BC there, when I got hit, I've been hit so many times in my career. When I got hit that last time, it's like I had a candle in my hand, and it just went, and it was like blown out. And I had never had that. I always had a burning desire, passion to play the game. When I got hit, something completely changed inside. Nobody needed to tell me that I was, whatever. I went out there every day and challenged myself and the people around me. That's what I'm gonna do as a coach. That's all you have to do as a person in life. Go out there and reach it. Keep it simple. Dad always said that. Keep it simple, son. When you lay down at night, you know you've done your best, and tee it up again the next day.
Your heart has to go out to Matt Dunnigan on this night. He told me earlier this summer that he still feels the effects of his concussion, still sees spots, and still has headaches. We wish him well. Matt Dunnigan's Tiger Cats are hurting tonight too. They're down big, 22-3 to the Argos at the half. Back in Hamilton, it's all Argos at the half, 22-3 on a steamy night here in the Steel City. Well, earlier today in part 1 of our Labor Day doubleheader, the Eskimos took a beating in Alberta. They may have lost quarterback Danny McManus with a re-injured shoulder, and they lost big on the scoreboard, 27-14 to Calgary. Here's Steve Armitage with a report.
If you're a fan of the Calgary Stampeders, it was indeed a classic here at McMahon Stadium this afternoon. The Stampeders over their hated rivals from up north, the Edmonton Eskimos, by a count of 27-14. And the big story for the Stampeders, their offense totally dominating the Eskimos in the first half, led by Jeff Garcia. Jeff, it was the kind of afternoon that all quarterbacks enjoy.
Well, in the first half, I thought we did some great things offensively. We really controlled the ball on the line of scrimmage. We were able to run the ball well and therefore open up some passing lanes. And I thought in the first half we executed well. Second half we had a drop-off, but our defense really rose to the occasion. They played a great game today.
Speaking of running, Jeff, you did that exceptionally well, especially in the first half.
Well, at times they're going to open up some lanes and they're going to allow me to run, and I'm going to take advantage of it. If I can get positive yardage, then go for it.
Was it just a case of you taking what the Eskimos' defense gave you?
Well, at times you have to do that. They play very soundly defensively. They do a great job of playing their defense, and they're not easy to move the ball on. You have to take advantage of the little opportunities you get sometimes, and sometimes you just have to dink the ball off and allow your guys to run with it, and we were able to do that at times.
Jeff, you're right back in the hunt.
That's right. We need to keep pressing forward.
The Calgary Stampeders with a big win over the Edmonton Eskimos here at McMahon Stadium this afternoon. 27-14 to even their record at 5-5 on the season.
We can also tell you that Eskimo defensive back Derek Beattie, who was taken to hospital by ambulance late in the game, has been released from hospital and flew home in good condition with the Eskimos. Here at Hamilton in the nightcap of our doubleheader, Mike Pinball Clemens with one of 3 TDs in a big Argo first half.
Back at Ivor Wynn, just about set for the second half. 22-3, the Argos lead the Tiger Cats. In their last start, Doug Flutie threw 3 interceptions in the first half against Saskatchewan. This time, it's 3 touchdown passes.
They exploded in the second quarter, Chris, with 3 touchdown passes, and you see the passing yardage reflected there. And Daryl Mitchell was his guy on the first one after a play-action fake. Mitchell gets in behind coverage, and here's a blown coverage, and this is something that this Hamilton defense couldn't afford to do. And Flutie's going to seize the opportunity. You see the 2 defensive backs running to catch up with Daryl Mitchell. He scores once again, and if you're going to play man coverage, you know Doug Flutie is going to look for Pinball Clemens, and here he sticks another one in the end zone. 3 second quarter touchdowns.
And the last one coming at 14:40 of the second quarter, so a late drive by Flutie, and the Hamilton Tiger Cats in a huge hole at home. And they told us Doug Flutie, for the first time maybe all season long, is healthy, and so were his first half statistics.
Boy, he didn't miss many. I mean, he 3 misses there, and that's what makes him so good. Is his completion percentage coming into the game tonight was 66%. Anthony played a pretty good first half. He had some good numbers, and he was replaced near the end of the first half by Ricky Foggy. I think you'll see Calvillo back in the ball game and try to get something going.
Foggy heading to the bench, and so it looks like it will be Calvillo to start the second half. Mike Saunders has dropped deep, but Pinball Clemens accepts the kickoff to get this second half underway. And look at Clemens once again, productive yardage on a return to the 37-yard line. And the Argos will be in business. Cooper Harris again led the surge downfield for Hamilton. 28 yards on that return by Clemens.
Well, you're almost better off if Pinball doesn't take it back on you. If you make the tackle, then you've done your job on special teams. Now Doug Flutie, who comes in red hot, 15-18 in the first half. He now will try to get something going immediately. Drop the ball off, get himself a completion early in the second half, get himself back into the flow.
Only one 400-yard passing game for Flutie in the first half of the season.
Well, teams have really played off against this Toronto team and only rushed 3 people as they're doing here.
Here's Flutie over the head of Saunders.
Well, that's what happens. You come in from halftime, come back out on the field from halftime, and you're back into game mode. You might pull the string a little bit, meaning you don't follow through, and that'll let that ball ride high, and that's what he did there. Had Saunders in the scene.
And immediately pointed to himself as the guilty party on the play, but just his 4th incompletion of the game. Doug was saying before the game that he expected, again, Hamilton to drop all those people back. Not much of a pass rush. He said it worked the last time they played for Hamilton, but he said, I'm a lot more mobile now. I can make things happen. 2nd and 10, and there's Mazzotti. First down yardage, and Mazzotti drilled down at midfield by the safety, Aaron Ruffin, who went out of the game late in the first half with a nick.
Toronto has had to play against this style of defense so much throughout the season. Once Hamilton was successful with it early in the season, Saskatchewan jumped on the bandwagon. Hamilton came back with it again, so they've developed an offense to spread them out. 6 receivers, spread the defense out, find the creases.
From the Hamilton side of midfield, first down. Flutie make that shovel pass, he's in trouble, but gets away from Whitehead. And now looks deep, wide open was Kerwin, and coming back and getting the flag on the play was Kenny Wilhite. And Willie Whitehead laments the one that got away.
Well, Doug's pounding on his chest saying that's my fault. Kerwin had got in behind the coverage, and Doug threw what us quarterbacks hate to refer to as a duck. It went end over end and just had nothing on it. And Kenny Wilhite never picked up the ball, and so subsequently pass interference on 26 for Hamilton.
So the ball has been marked at the 11-yard line.
Kenny realizes he's beat, so now he's got to get back and just try to keep it from being a touchdown, and he didn't realize the ball was thrown as poorly as it was.
There it goes, threatening again. It's out in the flat, and that's Saunders, and the former Cat will score, but there is a flag on the play. And this one's coming back.
Procedure. Toronto number 87. Repeat first down.
87, Daryl Mitchell, who's been in the end zone himself twice. That time a little over anxious, and it cost the Argos a touchdown pass to Saunders. So first down over from the 16. First and 15. Steps up, signaling, and now throwing into the end zone to the corner, touchdown. And Mike Clemens has his second of the game. He's got one for both of his girls now.
And Pinball makes this play because Doug breaks the pocket and scrambles. Pinball was about 15 yards deep in the end zone. He scrambles back to the front pylon, and Doug sees. You see Doug peering over here a little bit. He knows he's got Pinball over there. Only a three-man rush, so not a lot of pressure. Now he's going to put pressure on the defense by running. Waving his finger around, but Pinball comes back to him right at the pylon. And Eric Carter's way too soft. There was nobody else over there. Eric lost sight of where Pinball was. Whenever your quarterback scrambles out of the pocket, you come back and help him. Pinball's been doing that for a long time.
So a couple for Mitchell and a couple of touchdown passes to Clemens. Flags fly as Vanderjagt puts the convert through. Clemens has 3 catches, 34 yards, and the 2 touchdowns.
Procedure. Toronto number 56.
I love it.
Chad Folk.
Love it. CFL. Way to go. That's all. You can go now. That's it. Cut.
That's your cue, Dave. So Vanderjagt has to do it over again. 5 yards further back. Hasn't been a missed convert yet this year, and Vanderjagt continues the streak. And the Argos are streaking here in Hamilton, putting it to the hometown and hated rivals. Daryl Mitchell with 2 touchdowns. Mike Clemens with a pair of touchdowns, and the Argos are way out in front, 29-3. Urban Bowman was reminiscing about last year's game. I'm sure he didn't want to talk about it. 38-7 the score last year in the Labor Day Classic for Toronto, and he said, I've never seen the Argos sharper. Well, the Argos are giving him an instant replay here tonight. Here's Aaron Ruffin trying to get outside. Donald Smith with a nice tackle, and Ruffin upended. 17-yard return. Well, the Ticats said if they were going to score on them, they were going to have to put sustained drives together, but that's only been the case once tonight.
Yeah, only 4 plays to put the ball in the end zone. You see a 3-man rush. This gives Doug a lot of time. Now he's going to float up in the pocket. You see people have to come to Doug to make the play, and you see how far Eric Carter is from Pinball Clemens. Easy throw for Doug Flutie.
Anthony Calvillo back at quarterback. Archie Amerson wrapped up by Rob Waldrop, and down he goes. Waldrop, the only All-Canadian on this Argo defense last year. Top lineman last week in action against Saskatchewan.
Well, Waldrop's a load in there when he plays against the run. He's not a monster guy, 6'1", 270, but he just takes up a lot of space. Eats up a lot of players. You see his his numbers coming into the ball game. Not a lot of sacks, but he's just there, and he eats up a lot of blockers.
2nd and 10. Calvillo, and that's batted down. Looked like Reggie Gibbons, the rush in, was in there. And the swarming Argo defense causes another 2 and out.
Well, this has been a story that's gone on and on for the Hamilton offense. They just can't seem to get anything going. There's the pressure by Reggie Gibbons. Here's Waldrop we were talking about. Look at him, 2 guys on him. He still gets pressure. You see him still get clean. 2 offensive linemen, Newton and Blaine Schmidt, still working him, but he still got pressure.
Oswaldus to Clements and the Argo 40. Nice cut back there. Blaine Schmidt brings him down at the 48. 38 yards on the punt. 9 more yards for pinball. As we join Mark.
Here in the booth with CFL Chairman John Tory, who's taking in the action here on a Labor Day evening. Your comments on a pretty decent weekend of football in the CFL.
Well, Labor Day is always an important weekend for us, Mark, and we've had good crowds everywhere, an overflow crowd in Saskatchewan, a great crowd in Calgary on CBC today, great and a better crowd in Montreal, and all the sort of underdogs won the game. Now, that's not happening so far here in Hamilton, but again, a better crowd here tonight. So we're hoping that the kind of fall will see us continue to pick up and not have any problems, which we haven't had really all season. Things are going much better.
You were just named as the acting commissioner of the CFL. Jeff Giles confirmed as president. But what about a hunt for a commissioner? Where's that at?
Well, we're not actively looking for a commissioner at the moment. The governors have decided, whether they're right or they're wrong, that Jeff Giles and I are working fine in terms of keeping stability, and we're on the right track in terms of getting things in better shape. So we'll stick with that arrangement for now and not actively look for a commissioner for a while yet.
All right, John, thanks for your time. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Mark.
Chris?
Well, Mark, the Ticat fans have something to cheer about. You just saw Willie Whitehead pick up the fumble as Robert Drummond mishandled the direct snap. And the Ticats get the ball back on the Argo side of midfield. Calvillo looking for Winfield. Donald Smith there. And an incompletion, and Winfield may have come up lame.
Yeah, Earl really struggled to get out of that route. Looked like he might have twisted his knee at the top of his route and really didn't come out of it. Donald Smith played it extremely well, but it was a well-thrown ball by Anthony Calvillo. Watch the plant. See, it looked like he turned the knee and the ankle just a little bit. Wasn't able to come out of it very well.
All-time leading Hamilton receiver, number 6 all-time in yardage in the CFL, number 7 in the league in touchdowns in his illustrious career. Here's Calvillo pulling it down, and he'll take off. And Reggie Gibbons was on him first, knocked it loose. Marcelo Simmons has it, and he's gonna go. Marcelo Simmons with the touchdown, 65 yards. Now the Argos answer back with a fumble recovery of their own, and ouch.
Well, this is all a result of Anthony Calvillo realizing that he has nothing going offensively, trying to do a little too much. They didn't get anything on first down with the incompletion to Winfield, so with everybody dropping off in coverage, Calvillo decides he's going to run with the football, and you got to put the football away. Anthony knows that. He's had some problems fumbling the football this season, and this is exactly what they didn't need, a cheap touchdown for the Toronto defense.
That's the 9th fumble by Calvillo this year, the 7th the Cats quarterback has lost. Remember, he had 4 in the game against Montreal a couple of weeks ago.
That's Anthony competing, just trying to make something happen, and he just trying to make some kind of play for his team, and as it turns out, he makes a bad play for his team.
Extra point added by Vanderjack. So Simmons in a new position celebrates a touchdown and an Argo 36-3 lead. There's Lester Smith, the safety, and he was involved in the play, helping jar the ball loose into the hands of Marcelo Simmons for the 65-yard touchdown.
Well, Lester Smith is coming on what they call a zone blitz. It means he's coming to his free safety spot, and you watch him come in from behind and rake the ball out right there. Marcelo Simmons gets the Sunday hop, or the Monday hop in this case, for a touchdown.
Here's Willie Brown, the rookie. And not much there for Brown. He's down at the 30-yard line. Like Adrian Smith might have been shaken up on the play for Toronto. Well, Dave Archer, we look at an Argo defense that has completely foiled the Hamilton Tiger Cats since the opening drive. How would you attack a defense that leads in that many categories and has been so good?
Well, I had the misfortune of having to face these guys 3 times last year, and we struggled against them. But we had a chance to beat them in Toronto last year when I was with Ottawa, and it was because we were extremely successful on first down. I don't think they're overly good man cover people. When you get a second and medium situation, and I mean 6, 5, 4 yards to convert and move the chains, that means they got to play some man coverage, and I don't think they're overly great playing man coverage. I think the 2 corners are Donald Smith and Adrian Smith, but the 2 halves probably aren't as good at cover people.
Matt DeBuck is the injured Argonaut, backup running back who sees action on special teams. And I know this was a fear Eric Tillman had prior to the game when I talked to him about losing Canadian players at this time or any time of the year. It's extremely difficult to replace Canadians. And DeBuck is being attended to now. He's on his feet and looks like he should be all right.
Well, DeBuck plays all the special teams for him, and I talked to Don Matthews at the beginning of the year, and he was really excited about DeBuck. DeBuck hadn't gotten to play a lot on offense, but he would be the guy that came in if something were to happen to Pinball Clemens, and he compares him with Pinball, and that's pretty high praise.
Native of Montreal, who played at Texas Tech. But the Argos coming into the game had fewer injuries than most croquet teams. Antonius Bonner was the only player on the injury list with a foot problem, and he's probably ready to go next week. Now a snap is mishandled, but Amerson gets loose on the right side. And Archie Amerson down by Benson. Mike O'Shea in the area as well. Gets up close to the 40-yard line, and that's a pickup of 8 to 9, and Amerson musters a smile.
Other than the way Earl Winfield plays, this guy's been their most valuable player this year. Earl in just 5 games, this being his 6th game, has caught over 400 yards worth of balls and has lent a lot of leadership. And here you see Earl downfield. Here's what he does. He wants the football. First of all, he said, let me see if I can get a block. And who's he pick out? Well, he kind of shoe dusts our boy Michael O'Shea there.
Here's Amerson trying to kick it outside. He was slowed up on the play by Demetrius Maxey, and that allowed the Argo pursuit to get there.
But Archie Amerson really is a solid player for this team. He's a young guy, and I think he can develop into a big-time player. I think that they're going to find that they're going to be able to do the same things with Amerson that BC's doing with Al Shipman. Move him as a receiver, let him run the football. He's got a lot of skills. I think he's destined for some stardom in this league.
So 1-1-8 team not having the good fortune that the other 1-8 team had yesterday. Both the Winnipeg Blue Bombers going into oversold Taylor Field, and Jeff Reinbold enjoying his second win. And we were talking about this yesterday. Teams have to just kind of look for the next step along the stepping stone, try and get within a couple of games of Saskatchewan for that last playoff. Here's a block punt. And don't look now, but it's getting worse. Adrian Smith is into the end zone. Donald Smith blocked the punt. And Osbaldiston taking exception with the hot dogging from Adrian Smith, a former Ticat. Now, it's one thing to put it in the end zone, but when you're hot dogging around the goal line, you'll draw a crowd of black and gold.
Well, especially when you're doing it right in front of the bench of the Hamilton Ticats. And I don't blame Paul Osbaldiston, and if I were one of his players, and I know you shouldn't condone this, but I'd have been right down there with him. That's ridiculous. Just get the ball in the end zone and act like you've been there before. And this is a championship football team. Donald Smith had the block, and you see Osbaldiston is extremely upset over Donald Smith with the block. And Adrian Smith scores, but you know, play like a champion, act like a champion, and I don't agree. I don't think that was championship tactics right there by Adrian Smith.
And he has been there before. He had a touchdown against Hamilton in the regular season last year on a pick, and of course in the Grey Cup game, he had the decisive interception of a McManus pass.
That's a trade. That's a trade 2 years ago.
Well, that's the reason, he said. Adrian Smith dealt by the Tiger Cats and rubbing a little salt in the wound here at 42-3, and the extra point to come.
You got the block. You got the block. That's my head. That's my brother right there, baby. That's my brother. Thank you, baby.
Well, Adrian's talking about being traded 2 years ago. If he hadn't been traded, and right there is the guy that's going to come through and block it. That's Donald Smith. And he is untouched. Johnny Harris gets picked up by the up back, and Donald lays out. Well, it's a super block. Super block, and you see here's the hot dogging that Paul Asbaldiston took exception to, and you know, he complains about getting traded 2 years ago. Well, he wouldn't be wearing a Grey Cup ring if he hadn't gotten traded 2 years ago, so maybe he owes him a little bit of thanks. Low snap, but it was just the fact that Donald Smith was completely unblocked, and you saw 3 Argonauts around the punter, and that's not good protection. Results in the bad play for the special teams for Herb Bowman and his crew.
Well, you see Asbaldiston in, and he's going to get a bunch of his friends on the scene very quickly. Asbaldiston, a 12-year veteran. And he's still steamed. I think he's more steamed about Smith than the punt block, but it's been that kind of night for the Ticats.
Well, Adrian Smith is a real good corner, one of the better corners in this league, and he's a solid player, comes to play every night, but I don't think that when he looks at that, he'll realize he's playing like a champion.
Here's Aaron Ruffin. Ruffin cuts it back. And Ruffin with a determined run up to the 35-yard line. Now the Ticats will play for next week and play for some pride.
They talk about pride. Aaron Ruffin has a tremendous amount of pride. He was really jacked up before this game, the starting free safety and kickoff return man. And you see there's not a lot going on for Aaron Ruffin. You see he's running side to side. You'd like to go north and south as a kicker, and finally says, okay, I'm going to make something happen north and south right here. And he does. Got another 15 yards for his team.
These two teams will meet again in 2 weeks' time at Skydome, 4th and final meeting. Here's Ashande Smith trying to get outside. Shook one tackle, and now he's forced out of bounds by Reggie Givens. And what speed Givens has from the rush end position.
Well, that's what Don Matthews wanted to do with this defense, build speed. Reggie Givens is one of those guys. In fact, Reggie has made a couple guys on this team expendable. Don Matthews went out and tried to find people who would upgrade his defense. This is the Grey Cup champion, folks, and he went out and found a couple other people to upgrade this defense. And like we said, they're #1 in 15 of the 25 categories.
5 yards for Smith. It's 2nd and 5. And it's Smith again. And he couldn't shake the tackle of Charles Anthony, who read the play nicely. And now Calvillo on the offense, hearing it from the fans here at Diver Win.
Well, they're trying to get the ball in the hands of the guys that can make a big play out of something small. Ashande Smith, his main attribute is his speed. But Charles Anthony and the crew with this Toronto defense just seem to rally to the football so well when it's thrown underneath.
Well, let's see if they can give better protection to Asbaldiston on this punt. And Clements driven back to his 18. Mike Clements ran into his own man, flag down, as Clements is upended at the 34-yard line. 52-yard punt, 15 on the return, pending the flag. Gerald Vaughn with the tackle. Some sad Cat fans tonight at Diver Win.
All right, here's offensive coordinator John Jenkins, defensive coordinator Bill Bradley, and they're in charge of the X's and O's. One has the X's, Bill Bradley, the other one has the O's, John Jenkins, but I think Doug Flutie has more of the O's on this offense.
It's been like playing tic-tac-toe for the Argos, hasn't it, tonight? 43-3. Flutie stays in the game. Gets it off to Drummond. Robert Drummond on the move up to the 35. And a first down for the Argonauts.
Well, just when you thought you'd seen everything from this offense, as Eric Carter is down, the all-pro corner for Hamilton. Got a little knee twist there. But just when you think you've seen everything from this defense, they come up with a little hitch screen to Robert Drummond as Eric is not able to get off the field. But they're just so diverse on offense. They have so much versatility with the two backs, Clemens and Drummond, and they just come at you from so many different angles. And at this point, this defense is worn out. They've been shell-shocked a little bit, so it's difficult for them to come out and play every drive as hard as they played early in the ballgame.
Mentioned that Winnipeg win yesterday, and our congratulations to the Bombers and Jeff Reinbold, but just watching this might bring the Bombers back down to earth because they're next on the Argos agenda next Sunday. We'll have it for you on CBC.
Well,
Ticats will regroup and play at home.
They got the ankle. Calvin Tiggle rolling over the tackle. Got the ankle of Eric Carter. He goes down. Looks like he's reaching for the knee, so he might have got the knee on the play. Getting back to Jeff Reinbold and his crew, if I know his attitude, and I think I do, he's going to relish the fact that this team is coming in on a high note, Toronto, and he's going to be excited about putting his defense on the field. And you know, he's in charge of that special teams crew, and Dexter Dawson had the 90-yard punt return for a touchdown yesterday. Dexter Dawson will be a factor in that ball game, as pinball is in this game on return, so it's going to be fun to watch those two little guys mix it up.
So Eric Carter, one of the premier corners in the CFL, hobbling to the sidelines. Aaron Ruffin, the safety, will move out to Carter's spot, and that'll bring Rob Hitchcock back into the game as the safety. 5.5 minutes to go. Still in the third quarter at Ivor Wynn. And the Argos in a rout. One of those games where Doug Flutie and company will now get to pad some stats. Flutie throwing it wide side, and it drops incomplete. Intended for Mazzotti. And Don Matthews will lead Doug Flutie in. He's not worried about injuries or running up the score. He says this guy has earned his right to be number one, and when you get to be number one, you get to play.
Yeah, but I don't agree with the philosophy. I think that Flutie should be on the bench at this point. It's 43-3. Doug Flutie's been nursing some injuries all year long. All it takes is somebody come in, clip him in the leg, and now you're back to where you were a couple of weeks ago when Doug Flutie was not as effective as he is normally. Here you got a healthy Doug Flutie. Get him off the field. Get Andre Ware some opportunity to get in there and play.
2nd and 10. Pass off the fingertips of Mazzotti, incomplete.
And right there, Doug Flutie took a big shot from Michael Philbrick. I'll be highly surprised if we see Flutie on the next series, but he has played the majority of the downs for this football team.
See, those are negative thoughts, Dave, and Don Matthews says he never has negative thoughts. And he hasn't been exposed to a lot of negatives as a head coach in recent years. 3-time Coach of the Year and in the Grey Cup the last 3 years with teams he's led.
Well, the 5-time MVP would be on the bench for me in that series, I guarantee that.
Great punt by Vanderjagt. And Steinauer over the 35-yard line. Well, who comes out at quarterback for the Hamilton Tiger Cats? It's still Anthony Calvillo back in. Well, Don Matthews, in assessing his opposition, said that the Tiger Cats were a team that didn't seem to have an identity on offense, and clearly an identity has not emerged in this game.
They really struggled to put anything together. I don't think we've mentioned Prince Wembley's name today. Prince Wembley is a solid receiver, the number 2 receiver on this team. Mike Moriali hasn't been involved, and I don't think Archie Amerson has touched the ball enough.
Wembley had a 69-yard touchdown catch last week. There he is. First time they've thrown his way, but it's overthrown. Incomplete. Well, the fans have been on Calvillo for most of the season here, and he is hearing it from them again tonight.
And talking with Anthony Calvillo, he said, I wanted to play a great game before the home crowd. I wanted the home crowd to see me play well. He played well on the road coming into the last 2 times. He had 3 consecutive 300-yard games. He just has not been able to put it together against the best defense in the league.
2nd and 10 for the Cats. And Calvillo airing it out, looking for Winfield against Donald Smith. Incomplete. And it will be 3rd down. And after that first drive for the Ticats, they have not been able to put anything together.
Well, Donald Smith has done a great job out on the corner all day long today, not to mention the punt block that resulted in a touchdown. But he's just running stride for stride here, and this has been a great play over the years for the Ticats. Just hang the ball up and let Winfield get it. Anthony's throwing the ball a little bit too far downfield. Let Winfield go up and try to climb Donald Smith to make the play, and Smith's still down, I believe, over there after the contact.
He missed 4 weeks with a broken arm earlier this year.
He's a big guy, though, 6 feet, 190, has good speed, and of the 2 corners, he's the gambler of the 2. If he's going to jump a hitch route or come up and try to steal an out route, he's the corner that'll do it. Adrian Smith hangs back a little bit more and plays a little softer, although he's a solid player. Donald Smith is the guy you got to worry about because he's the guy that kind of comes up and makes the plays, and saw him make the play on special teams.
There's a former Argo, Mike Campbell. And Calvillo now on the sidelines. 3rd down, and Osbaldiston's in.
Lock it up over there!
Great kick by Osbaldiston again, who's pumped up after that block punt. And pinball, a nifty little move right down along the line. Well, another tough night for Anthony Calvillo, who talked about the problems he's had this year and hearing it from the fans in Hamilton.
Fans are fans. You know, they're going to love you one play, they're going to hate you the next. That's just the way things go. And, you know, our fans have been frustrated all year because we've been losing, and we've been losing at home as well. We haven't won a game at home all year. So I think the way we could turn that around is getting a big victory.
Well, we hear from one quarterback, while another one in the broadcast booth was correct in his assessment of who would be in at quarterback for the Argos in the next series. It's the other Heisman Trophy winner, Andre Ware, who has seen limited duty this year. Ware's pass in the flat for Clements. Pinball draws a crowd there. Gang tackle at the 32-yard line, and that's behind the line of scrimmage.
This is a great opportunity for Andre Ware to come in and get some good game experience. He's got over a quarter left, and he comes in and immediately throws the guy who leads the league in receptions. Pinball Clemens, he catches a lot of these short passes, but he turns them into plays. And if anybody ever doubted the toughness of this guy, you got to remember this guy's 5'6", 170 pounds, and it took about 6 Ticats to bring him down.
That's just the 4th pass thrown by Andre Ware this year. He's completed 3 of them. As those plays taped to the wrist, we'll see what he calls. Looks for Mazzotti, and he's drilled by Frank West at the 38. That's a short gain for the Argos, and they'll be in a punting situation.
Yeah, but you already see the intelligence of Andre Ware, because the first 2 guys who caught the football for him, Pinball Clemens, who's been around here for a long time, and the next guy, Paul Mazzotti. They're 2 long-time Argo veterans. 2 good guys to get the football to.
Yeah, keep the vets happy. That's a pretty good idea for the quarterback. 2:19 to play. A long 3rd quarter and a long evening for the hometown guys. Here's Kenny Wilhite. Wilhite stepped out at the 35 as we join Mark Lee.
Chris on the sidelines here with a couple of former Ticat greats, some Grey Cup champions. That's Bronco Nagurski, the offensive tackle from the 60s, and everybody recognizes Angelo Mosca, the big bad sometimes dirty defensive line for the Cats.
Whatever you want to call me. Don't call me late for breakfast.
What are you guys doing together here this weekend?
Well, first of all, it was great to see Bronco. Bronco come up from this. He's from this area originally with a wife. He married a girl from here 31 years ago, or
35 years ago.
35 years ago. And I got a hold of Bronco, and Bronco said he'd get a hold of me when he come in town, and we're having a little nostalgic weekend.
Bronco, too bad that the Cats can't win on this nostalgic weekend. How about a comment on their play?
Well, it hasn't been very impressive tonight. All the games that we used to play with the Argos were real dogfights. They were real battles. There was always a great tradition, and it's just one of those things. It's not their year.
A lot of conjecture about the firing of Don Southern, the defensive specialist, and defense not their strong suit here tonight, Angie.
It's pretty obvious. You know, I'm really dejected because usually we got up for this game regardless of what kind of a year we were having. And I don't think there's enough people working hard enough to make this game into a football game. They got a great crowd here tonight, some 18,000 to 19,000 people. And I think without the trigger guy, remember last year, 4-1 done again after 5 games, and now we don't really have a quarterback.
All right, thanks very much to a couple of Tie-Cat greats, Angelo Mosca and Bronco Nagurski. Chris?
Thank you. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, Mark, Angelo Mosca is like most of the fans in Hamilton. They speak their mind, and they're getting impatient. Ricky Foggy's back in now.
Well, I think we alluded to the fact that I don't think the fans are seeing the kind of offense that Anthony Calvillo runs. When they had the spread offense that Dunnigan was so successful with, as you see him come up with a first down here, and this is a positive. They haven't had a first down the whole half, it seems like. I think Calvillo's strength is to spread the field, similar to what Doug Flutie does. He's got a big arm, stretch the field. You saw the numbers. He racked up some big-time numbers last season. Threw for over 500 yards twice last year in that run-and-shoot style of offense, and that fits him a little bit more. I don't think he's comfortable in the two-back offense, play-action pass. Ricky Foggy now in is taking the reins.
And they have their first down of the second half. Foggy under pressure, and he delivers that ball low and incomplete. Intended for Andrew Grigg. Reggie Gibbons was putting the heat on the Hamilton quarterback.
Well, Foggy's one of these real positive guys. Steps in the huddle. They said when he stepped in a couple of weeks ago in the Montreal game, when that game went south on him, they brought in Ricky Foggy, and it seemed to really light a fire under the offense. And it'll be interesting to see if they respond to him again. He's been in once this game. They weren't able to move the football, but what they need to do now is to try to work the football down the field, put a couple of points on the board, a couple of scores, give themselves some confidence to go into next week.
2nd and 10. Here comes the pursuit again. Foggy, mobile, getting out of trouble, and throwing to Prince Wimbley for a completion. And that'll be close to a first down. I think he's going to be just shy as Wimbley has his first catch of the game. No, they give him a good mark, and it is a first down.
Well, this is Foggy's strength, is to make people miss. He was with Damon Allen in Edmonton, and that looks a little bit like Damon Allen right there. And Ricky's played well in this league. He's thrown 85 touchdown passes in this league. He's not any stranger to what's going on. And again, Waldrop fighting through the block of Newton, putting the pressure on Ricky Foggy, but Foggy makes him miss, and he comes back to help.
Foggy, a 9-year CFL veteran. Play action, and throwing it for Smith, and it's knocked down by another Smith, Adrian. You got a Shonda Smith, Adrian Smith, Lester Smith, Donald Smith, and an incomplete Tiger Cat pass. That's the final play of the third quarter. Urban Bowman and the Cats having their helmets handed to them on their home turf. Mike Clemens has a couple of touchdown catches in the onslaught, 196 total yards.
With your host, Mike Pinball Clinics. Please follow me. Beautiful guys. Big guys on TV. Say hello, all the big guys.
Hi. Hi, Sam. How you doing? Stephanie, I love you, Stephanie. Emily, Michelle, Susan. Hey, everybody.
He's going to have everybody on before it's over.
Well, since the second quarter, Toronto has dominated the game offensively. They average 400 yards a game, and they're well on their way to doing that again tonight. You see, the time of possession is in the favor of the Ticats. That's what they needed. They just gave up too many big plays on defense.
See, Clemens is a smart veteran. Get the O-lineman on TV, and then he doesn't have to take him out for dinner. It'll get a lot more expensive. Here's Ricky Foggy, 2nd and 10, and in trouble. Gets away from the initial pressure, and now has Ken Abraire. A catch for Abraire, a 92 top Canadian finalist.
Well, Andrew Stewart's got his helmet kicked back on his head, and he's a little winded. You see him whiff right there on Ricky Foggy, and this is what Foggy can do. Runs around him. If you're only going to rush 3 people after him, he's going to run around until somebody comes open. This is kind of what Doug Flutie's been doing tonight a little bit.
I got nothing else to do, so I might as well show you a sign.
Nice to know Mike Vanderjagt's on our side.
Can't beat it.
I don't know about the artwork, but here's Amerson left side. And Archie Amerson down to the 39, has 4 for the Tiger Cats.
Well, he got drugged down at a bad angle there, and it looked like he might have twisted his ankle. But just as he accelerated, got drugged down from behind, and a lot of times the defensive player will fall on the back of your legs. Looks like he flipped him in the back there, and Amerson's going to have to go off for a little help from the trainers.
Ken Abraire was coaching the secondary at the University of Ottawa last year, and he was joking his cousin was 2-time All-Canadian, Chris Abraire, and when he got the call from Hamilton, he showed up. He said the Ticats probably were hoping it was Chris instead, who's going to be a top prospect in this league in a year or two. Ricky Foggy, and Foggy almost picked off. He was looking for Andrew Grigg. Donald Smith back in the game, denied that pass.
Well, I talked earlier about how Donald Smith likes to gamble. Here it is right here. He reads the route, and watch him break on the football. He breaks underneath Andrew Grigg, and Grigg's arm in there actually prevented the interception.
Well, Donald Smith just did push-ups, I think, as his penance for not coming up with the pick. There he is.
Well, this is something defensive backs do and practice a lot during training camp. If you drop an interception, you do push-ups, and he feels like he dropped one there.
Well, he had a block punt in the 3rd quarter, which really put this one into the laugher category. A pass for Abraire knocked down, and Marcelo Simmons was in coverage.
Now, Ricky was late with the throw and allowed Marcelo Simmons to get back over on Ken Abraire, and he had a chance to make a nice catch. You see Ricky banging on himself there. He should have made. He knows he should have made the throw earlier. You see Abraire's open early. Now the throw's behind him and underneath, and Simmons comes in and makes the play.
And that was a 3rd down gamble by the Tiger Cats. They turn it over on downs. Simmons with a touchdown tonight on the fumble recovery. 4 Tiger Cat turnovers. But just about every category has weighted heavily in the Argos side. Drummond battling for a couple. You know, they've done all this without Robert Drummond being a dominant force tonight. Certainly not like he was in the final regular season game last year when he scored 4 times, or in the first half of the Montreal game this year when he scored 4 touchdowns. We were all reaching for the record books that night at Skydome when he had 4 majors in the first half. 2nd down and 7. Andre Ware skips that pass to Drummond. And it will be 3rd down.
Well, Philbrick got a nice lick on Andre Ware there. I'm sure that makes him feel a little bit better. And these are the reasons you don't have Doug Flutie in, because that defense is just going to come after you and put some licks on you. And Philbrick, 3-man rush, makes one of the best linemen in this league missing, and Mike Kiselak, and he buries the '89 Heisman Trophy winner.
Well, next week, Hamilton will entertain Montreal. Vanderjagt got the punt away. Steinauer trying to get outside, and Argo pursuit is relentless. 11:36 to go here. Young and old, and I don't think anybody's enjoying this one in Hamilton. think it's a safe bet. Doug Flutie's night is done, and what an efficient and surgical performance he put on.
Efficient is exactly the number. 75% completion, 270 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Doesn't get any better than that.
It's bad news for the rest of the league. He backed up the comment that he's healthier than ever with his performance tonight. Here's Foggy under pressure again. Down he goes at the 25-yard line, and that's the rush in. Reggie Gibbons out of Penn State. He of the 4.58 40, catching up to Ricky Foggy.
Well, what they've done is they've increased a little bit of pressure. They saw Foggy was making some plays running around a little bit, and so they're going to get Benson and Givens and those people involved in the rush. I saw Michael O'Shea up there, and this is just a great defense. It's a defense that, again, if you don't do well on first down, you're really going to struggle against, and they've played a game plan perfectly the way they want to do things.
2nd and 11 for the Cats at the 25. And Wembley reached back and almost made a fine catch. Incomplete, and a 3rd down coming up. Earlier today, the Calgary Stampeders with a 27-14 victory, and they are at 500 after the 0-3 start, winning the first half of that back-to-back doubleheader against the Edmonton Eskimos, and it looks like the Stampeders are right back on track.
They really are. They struggled 2 weeks ago in BC, but come back with a solid effort here on Labor Day against their arch enemy, the Edmonton Eskimos. The Eskimos, Danny McManus went down with another injury. It'll be interesting to see if he can play Friday night.
Here's Clements dancing around, but not getting anywhere that time. Cooper Harris again is the man to make the special teams tackle. And a loss of 3 after the 44-yard punt as we join Mark.
Well, Chris, we've got the play that is considered the turning point in the Battle of Alberta. Danny McManus picked off by Marvin Coleman. A big return on the play, and this interception would set up Jeff Garcia's 1-yard touchdown run in that 27-14 Calgary win. Here's what's coming up next week, the CFL on CBC. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers, coming off that big win yesterday against Saskatchewan, will face the Argos, and it's BC at Saskatchewan. Check your local listings.
And the Green Riders trying to regroup, and same situation for BC after letting one slip away Saturday in Montreal. Here's Drummond with the catch up at the 50-yard line. Calvin Tiggle, the tackle on Robert Drummond.
Well, Jeff Reinbold, you know, is really relishing the fact, and I said this earlier about getting ready to play Toronto. I know he likes to play against the best, and he considers Don Matthews the best, and he likes to go head-to-head against Don Matthews, and he'll have that team ready to play.
Bombers now within 2 games of Saskatchewan. In the race for the wild card, the standings were frozen today and the playoffs started. Even though Saskatchewan's last, they'd get in the East as a playoff team. Here's Drummond almost bursting loose. He's into Hamilton territory at the 45.
It just surprises me, Chris, the different wrinkles you see. Here's a play that Flutie never ran in the game while he was in, and here's Andre Ware in the game, and they run a screen, an inside screen pass to Drummond, and they pick up another big gainer. They just continue to come with different wrinkles. Don Matthews says that you put the players on the field, you give them a few tools, but you let the players go play, and they haven't missed a stride. Now Andre Ware in there moving their offense.
Down, Drummond, and a big defensive play by Michael Philbrick. Filled the hole that time. Playing on pride right now, Michael Philbrick. As Joe Moss looks on. And it'll be a tough day of films, I'm sure.
It's going to be a difficult day of films. There's some good things on this film from this defense. They don't have a lot of things to point to offensively, and I think that they really need to look at what they're doing special teams-wise. This team has some good returners. They're not returning the football very well. Several areas to address.
Again, it's a little deceiving the second half as far as the Hamilton defense is concerned. Here's Clements with a catch. And he's wrapped up and driven back by Frank West. But remember, 1 touchdown on the block punt, another on a fumble recovery for a touchdown. So the defense scored on once in the second half.
Well, we saw the third quarter stats when Hamilton had the better of it in time of possession, and if you told me that this defense would have held Toronto to just 20 minutes in the first 3 quarters and they would have had the time of possession lead, I wouldn't have guessed the score to be like this.
2nd and 10. Andre Ware at the controls. And Ware behind Saunders as Ware was feeling the heat. So Willie Whitehead bearing down on Ware, forcing the incompletion.
Well, Urban Bowman thinks Willie Whitehead is cut from the same cloth as Elfrid Payton, and he got pressure that time and came in from his outside in position. Bowman really likes Whitehead. I think anybody in the league that's watched Whitehead play likes the way he plays. And he's a force on this team. Young guy, too. This defense is a young defense. They're going to be around for a while.
Getting an education tonight. Ware and Drummond can't hang on. And it'll be 3rd down, 6:51 to play. Urban Bowman was saying he got a call at 11 o'clock at home on Saturday night from a fan who wanted to tell him how to coach the team. I think Urban better get that phone number out of the phone book, because he may get a few more calls after tonight.
Well, Urban likes to have fun, but I guarantee you Don's having the better of it tonight. He's enjoying his team's performance, and this may have been their most solid performance of the season.
The only bad thing that's happened to Don Matthews this weekend is the insurance has run out on the Harley Davidson. Mike Vanderjagt in to attempt a 41-yarder, and that's been blocked. A block by the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Hitchcock up with the ball, and Doug Flutie made the tackle. How about that? Flutie upending Hitchcock. Vanderjagt has one rejected by the Tiger Cats.
Well, Doug Flutie's a super athlete, and he can make a lot of things happen for you on offense, but here's something he definitely didn't want to see. You see his eyes? He says, I got a 215-pounder coming at me. Let me get down on the ground. And if I can get his legs, okay, fine. I'm going to get off the field now.
He got off in a hurry. I can't believe you're dissing a fellow quarterback. That was a heck of a play.
That was a nice play.
Here's the pitch to Willie Brown. Left side. And he's drilled as he hits the 40-yard line. I know Calvin Tickle was sizing you up yesterday like you might be in there looking for a linebacking job.
Well, I couldn't run like Doug does. And
looks like they're going back to work. The Labor Day weekend drawing to a close. And unfortunately for Hamilton fans, the Ticats being torched here at Ivor Wynn. After we told you all weekend the Labor Day Classic is always a classic, Dave Archer is ready for a nail-biter here.
Well, it certainly started out that way. It certainly started out, both teams were playing close to the vest, tough defense, but this Toronto offense is just so difficult, and the Toronto defense doesn't allow you to breathe. If you're not going to do anything first down wise and move the football, then they're going to get you out of there and give the ball back to Flutie.
5:37 to go, and Osbaldiston back in to punt. A chance for Clemens to add to his totals, although Osbaldiston angling that near the bench, picked up by Donald Smith, who gets the no yards call. And now we got something going down there. And in the middle of it was Joe Romolo. So the frustration showing here for the Cats. There's rookie Joe Romolo, a Scarborough native, who made the tackle tried to strip the ball away from Donald Smith and threw a crowd of Argos for his trouble. And Romolo gets 15 yards for roughing. And the Argonauts have the football at the Tiger Cat 41. Andre Ware. And it's complete to Drummond with Calvin Tiggle on his back at the 35.
That's quite a race between Robert Drummond and Pringle in Montreal, between who's going to be the best back in this league. Pringle had a super day Saturday, rushed for 140 yards and a couple of touchdowns, made a couple of big plays late in that ball game to allow Montreal to win the game over BC 34-33, and Drummond's had a solid night again tonight for this ball club.
He's the touchdown leader. We showed you the 4 TDs against Montreal, 13 on the year, but Drummond hasn't seen the end zone yet tonight. Second down, they give it back to Drummond, and he'll kick it outside, breaks one tackle, and Robert Drummond with a nice run down to the 25-yard line, and he'll move the yardsticks. And more flags down, and more heated exchanges.
Mike Campbell's going to get flagged here, Chris, for a late hit. And he plays on the edge all the time, and he hit one of the offensive linemen in the back late.
Major foul. Unnecessary roughness. Hamilton, number 98. First down.
Argos' highest total this year, 46 points in a 46-8 rout of the Alouettes. That was the 4 touchdown game for Drummond. And they are now moving into scoring position again. And there are the numbers on the night.
Well, this is the #1 ranked offense in the league. They average 400 yards a game, and they're closing in on that. And Doug Flutie was maybe his best of the year tonight.
Darryl Mitchell with 2 touchdowns. Pinball Clements with a pair. Specialty teams have 1. The defense has 1. And that pass sailing over the head of Paul Mazzotti, who looked like he was open in the end zone. Let's join Mark.
Well, Chris, I just paid a visit to Earl Winfield in the Ticat dressing room, or rather on the sideline here, and his left foot is all iced up now. He has a severe turf toe. Told me he's finished for this game, and it looks like his career as a Ticat is indeed over. I asked him if he would be going to the school and not coming back for weekend games, and that is a fait accompli. So a tough ending for Earl Winfield, who's had some great games here for the Ticats over the years.
Here's Pinball Clements, and he's wrapped up and tossed out by Kenny Wilhite. I'll tell you what, he was one of my favorite players to watch in this league. Earl Winfield was a battler at the wide receiver position, but he had that balletic quality too. He was just a super athlete that made everything look so easy and fun to watch. And 11 great years, and as one of the great Cats of all time and a potential Hall of Famer.
Well, I don't think there's any question he's a Hall of Famer, Chris, and his name will shortly be up on the Ring of Honor here on this stadium here at Ivor Wynn. One of the all-time great players, a super guy, and his leadership will be missed from this ball club when he leaves, but he's got commitments that take him into another life, and that's gonna be fun for him. He's excited about it too, and he's gonna do some great things down there.
Vanderjagt to attempt a field goal here, and it's good. So the Argos have matched their season high with 46 points. This Vanderjagt attempt not blocked. There's Earl saying goodbye.
Number love for you. Call me sometime. Come down, have dinner, donuts, coffee.
There you go, an invite to go visit Earl after it's over.
Thank you. Thank you for
pretty hot internet page. So give it a try at www.tv.cbc.ca/CFL, and it is a good-looking page. And we'll have lots of information, highlights for you, and give you a chance to participate. Ricky Foggy had the ball stripped away, but gets back on it as Reggie Givens came off the edge again.
Well, just when you thought that maybe this defense would fall back and let you complete a few footballs, here comes Reggie Givens again, relentless. He gets by Peter Shorts there, and Pete's played a pretty good game tonight. They've got some pretty good rushers on this team, but that time Reggie got by him.
What's the worst you've ever been beaten in a game, and how'd you respond the next week?
Well, I'll tell you, for the first 3 or 4 days, you didn't respond at all. You had a lot. There was a lot of numbness throughout your body, and I can't remember the worst beating you ever had. But it's not a fun thing, and certainly this might be one of those films that they might burn offensively. There's some good things to watch defensively, but offensively they just have really not been able to muster anything. And I don't know that there's a lot of value to this film for the offense of Hamilton. And it's just really a tough day, especially when you're one. We were in a similar situation last year in Ottawa, and of course at this time of the year last year we had that great outpouring of public support, and everybody rallied, and we were able to beat Montreal in Frank Clair Stadium there in Ottawa and in front of 30,000 fans. So it was a little bit different feeling for us at that time, but this is a downer, and it's going to take real pros to step up and rally to play the last 8 games of the season for this team.
And just a small core of veteran players. Osbaldiston, the senior guy, and a big kick there which goes out of bounds. And that's what Anthony Calvillo was saying yesterday, that at 1-8 the season was not lost, but it's hard to tell players that haven't been in this league before that the turnarounds can be quick. The BC Lions were 1-8 at the turn last year, and now they're one of the better teams in the CFL. But that comes with experience, and there's not a lot of it on that Hamilton bench.
No, we discussed the 24 starters on this ball club, offensive and defensively. They only have about 3.9 years of experience, but if you remove the Mike Campbells and the Earl Winfields and the Paulus Balsons, those people off of that group, they only have 2 years of experience. So this is a group that's still learning how to play the CFL, and there's a lot of talent on that team down there.
Drummond takes the handoff from Ware and is tripped up over the 40-yard line. Joe Montfort pulling Drummond down.
Well, Montreal comes in and is going to tackle this Hamilton team next week, and be a big matchup for them because they're going to have the hard-running Mike Pringle coming in here, and they'll have to regroup and be ready to play because that's an offense that comes right at you. No secret to what they're doing. They're going to pound Mike Pringle at you, and Tracy Ham's going to run around and make some plays. So another tough matchup. Doesn't get any easier.
No, it doesn't. Remarkably, Hamilton has done the best job against Pringle this year. In 2 previous starts, Pringle held to his lowest totals against the Hamilton D. They're going to Drummond on every play, it seems now, and he's up to the 45, a first down for Robert Drummond. 80 yards for Drummond receiving tonight. And he now has 86 yards on the ground, so as the Argos are completing their books on tonight's game, they still might be looking for a 100-yard rushing game for Robert Drummond. You know, remarkably, this team with so many offensive weapons, they put up so many great numbers, they've only had 4 100-yard receiving games this year. That's an indication of how Doug Flutie uses everybody.
It really is. Doug spreads the ball around as he did again tonight. Mitchell was a monster factor tonight, so was Pinball, but you see Drummond getting his shots.
There's Andre Ware trying to sidestep a tackler and just got back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, that's what's so impressive about this offense, and we talked about it when Andre Ware came in the game. I saw 2 or 3 plays that they hadn't even used while Doug was in the ball game. The versatility of their players and their offensive scheme makes it very difficult to defend this team, and if you're not getting any production on your offense, you have to match these guys with some scores. If you keep your defense on the field all night and certainly put them in situations, bad field position situations, you're going to pay the price.
2nd and 10 for the Argos. Ware flushed out. Willie Whitehead was on his back as he tried to deliver the pass. So Whitehead still breathing fire.
Yeah, Willie Whitehead, he would make my all-CFL team at the halfway point. This guy just continues to come, and that's what Urban Bowman said about him. He says he does not take any plays off. He continues to fight and scrap, and it's 46-3 here at Ivor Wynn, but 92 is still coming, trying to rip the head off a quarterback.
I don't think Auburn lost many games 46-3, did they?
No. No, Jordan Hare Stadium down there in Auburn didn't see many of these.
Steinauer from inside his 15. Mike O'Shea leading the tacklers for the Argonauts. Well, we're down to the final 44 seconds. Mercifully, it'll be over for the hometown Tiger Cats, and their record will drop to 0-5 at home and 1-9 on the year. And the Argonauts with the best team in the league through 10 games at 8-2.
That might be the most disappointing thing for Urban Bowman, is the fact that they haven't won a game here in front of the home fans at Ivor Wynn. I remember as a player coming in here, this was a difficult place to win. I only won one time here at Ivor Wynn, and that was late in a ball game. We came in here as Sacramento group and won a game late in a ball game. So this is a tough place to win. The fans are tough here, and they're right on top of you on the bench over there, and they're constantly nagging at you. So it's been tough for them not to win here at home.
It's a great place to win when you are, because of the, I use the word loosely, the intimate confines here, because Hamilton fans are never in the intimate category, but they are passionate. Well, here are the standings after this game will go in the books, and the Argos with the best record in the league, but just staying one step ahead of those Alouettes.
They have to play Montreal twice in the final 3 weeks of the season, and the final game is on CBC in the final weekend of and British Columbia trying to keep pace, and now have actually been helped out by the Calgary win. They lost against Montreal Saturday, so they just stay one game back. And like we said, Calgary sneaking up the ladder. I think that anybody that knows anything about the CFL knows that Wally Bono's crew is going to be in the hunt when it comes down to playoff time.
14 seconds to go. Lee Knight slow to get to his feet. Don Matthews now one win away from tying Frank Clair's CFL coaching record of 147 victories. He'll try and get even with Frank Clair next week in Winnipeg. Now, when Don Matthews passes Frank Clair, do they name a stadium after him?
I would think he'd almost be obligated to name a stadium after him. He's coached extremely well in this league, and several Grey Cup wins. Seems like he's camped in the Grey Cup here the last several years.
Well, he was right on the mark when he said, my guys were so ready, I gave them Saturday off. I didn't want them to leave it on the field. They certainly didn't tonight. A thorough thrashing of the Hamilton Tiger Cats in what is known as the Labor Day Classic, but was only a classic for one team tonight.
All Toronto tonight, Chris, and it was Doug Flutie and Flutie football. That's what Matthews likes to call it, Flutie ball on both sides of the football, and he got it done tonight.
46-3 the final at Ivor Wynn.